Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
All I remember is like Luan and David talking about pocket all the time. They were just obsessed with pocket. And it's like, I bought this melon for all of us. And he just like smashed it on the floor. And then he was like, flipped us off. But then Cates heard it. And then every time he'd phone me up, he'd just be like, Horsey, Horsey. No, we're not going to talk about Dibs. Just because he's a little now. I cried because of his... And then Dibs sent him a in the post. That was the dream, was to get on Death. Luckily, I got 5 numbers on the national lottery. And then she called me back. She's like, oh my God, you've won £89,000. Yeah, we'll have to leave you at Leeds because there's no room. And then I just kind of ended up quitting. But it was enough to live by. Skateboarding was my job for probably a few years. But yeah, we just butted heads. It's just a... Penny's like in the curtain, just like rapping about like Stevie Williams and like, and I had this video of him and he's just like in a nose manual, but just like dead still with his arms by his side. It's like dead to the world. He was claiming it hard. He had a meltdown. He was like, take me to the train station. I'm going home. So I remember going to like a payphone, obviously super awkward, but he respected it. And I think he said, he was like, oh, if you ever change your mind or if you ever want to come back, like we're cool. Stuff with Send Help had kind of slowed right down. Yeah. And it kind of slowly happened. So I asked Nick and then Nick went off and spoke to the team and it was like a vote. But yeah, I ended up getting back on. So yeah, I just woke up one morning, my eyes were going the opposite way and I sit up and it's just like spinning and I just like puke on the floor. And then I was in bed for 4 days. I couldn't get out of bed without being sick. My fun was like going skating, but for him, skating was his job and he would like want to do like non-skate stuff. So he came to my barbecue and he was there the whole day and it was really nice like to see him. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go skate tomorrow at Tottenham. Like, oh yeah, I'll come skate. And I'm like, oh, okay, like not thinking I'd see him. And he came and he turned up and he had like little shorts on, he had that pink Slam shirt on. Someone's having a house party, like, you know, go to the house party. And then all of a sudden there's like a fire extinguisher going off. I don't know if the police came, but it was just done. But the Death House is amazing with the ramp and like, you could just do anything you wanted to do. I'm Horsey, you've been watching The Brain Drain Show. Roll the credits.
Good evening and welcome to another great episode with The Brain Drain Show with me, Forde Brookfield. Joined to my left is my one and only true love of a lifetime. Tell him your name, Toby.
You just said it. It's Toby.
And Toby.
Hello.
Who's joined to your left?
It is Scott Horsey Walker.
Hello. Oh, well, yep.
Go on, do the
Nuts.
do the thing you want to do.
What thing? Horsey. Can you just clip that and just put it over the episode just randomly to freak people out when they're listening on Spotify?
And your face close up.
Horsey. Like that.
Just dub every time we say horsey with that audio track.
If you want to. I sent you that
voice
clip.
note, yeah.
Could you hear that
Yeah,
properly?
it was on the train. Yeah, people
Yeah,
were just
good.
like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
Thanks for coming, dude.
Hi.
When was the last time we hung
Yeah,
out?
thank you for making the travel.
It's been a while, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
did
can't
you
remember.
come to the Death premiere at House of Ants?
Nah.
No, so probably when we did the Christmas thing here,
Fucking hell. So that's
which was
got
like
to be...
8 years ago, 10 years ago.
Jesus. I'm a terrible friend. I'm really sorry.
No, it's my fault as well.
You know, I spoke to Kundal last week.
Yeah.
And I said to him as well, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I've been the worst human. Because I like, there's
I
people...
think people expect it from you now, though.
I think so, but there was a
I'm only
period where,
joking.
like, before I was here at Snakes, I didn't really speak to skateboarders because I couldn't stand them.
Yeah.
But I think now I've sort of got over that.
So now you want to reach out and speak to people
some
again?
people.
Yeah.
To some people, not
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
No, not everyone. But I just, I don't know.
Not everyone. Like who?
Fuck off. There's certain people that I don't want to hear from. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like I was being a bit of a shit human. But
I feel like
probably more than anything because I didn't have anything good to say.
I feel like people with Instagram now just kind of see what people are up to on Instagram
Yeah,
and
I
like
guess
kind
so.
of think that's almost catching up. Just
It
see
pretty
what
much
people
is
are-
the modern day
Yeah, it's like, oh,
catch-ups,
he's
isn't it?
doing that, cool. And you don't have to bother speaking to him.
Yeah,
But sorry, I haven't come to see you in Derby for a while.
it's fine. It just
fine.
shows I'm not the
It's
only
fine.
bad person. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's fine. Should we start with the basics and stuff? When did you
Yeah.
first start skateboarding?
And where did the nickname Horsey come from?
Well, let's
So
answer the
I'll-
first one first.
Well, that was later on.
Probably answer mine first.
Who's in charge? Who do I listen
Who do you
to?
think's in charge?
Probably producer Fraser.
Who do you think's in charge?
Probably
here?
you.
Thank you.
There you go.
All
Only like an age thing.
Oh, right,
I
okay.
assume you're older.
yeah, talent thing. It's
Oh.
all on my behalf.
I got ID for booze.
Did ya?
Twice
That's
this
like the
year.
dream.
I know.
I wish that happened.
Where
When?
when skateboarding?
I think about 6 or 7 years old. I remember my dad got me a board from the newsagents. You know, like you go to a newsagents and there's always like shit on the walls that has been there for years. So it was one of them.
like helicopters, toy cars.
Yeah, just
skateboards.
crap. He's probably like after the pub. So yeah, it was like a yellow board, like 80s style, and then with like the plastic thing on the tail.
Tail saver.
Yeah,
And
one of
all the-
those.
What's the other
Plastic
one?
wheels and ship bearings. But yeah, I just remember just going down hills on my
Was
knees.
it like an 80s shaped one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how my first board was at. What year was that though?
Probably like 91.
Oh,
No,
okay.
92.
Right.
Early
Still pretty
90s.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a dog on set. Rudy the dog's wandering around.
Yeah, so if you hear any kind of like
Calamities.
I
footsteps
feel like that
or
dog doesn't make
whimpering,
any noise ever.
He's like a ninja dog.
yeah, he's pretty stealth.
Yeah.
Rudy.
And where was that? Because you're
Saffron Walden.
Saffron
Yeah, that's where I'm
Walden.
from. Yeah,
Oh,
Saffron
nice.
Essex.
Walden. You know, Saffron Walden.
Luxurious.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of deep Essex kind of bumpkin town.
Saffron Walden's a funny place, isn't it? 'Cause it's quite well to do. I went into Weatherspoons about 10 years ago and it was like really swanky.
Yeah, it's a very nice weather. Yeah, it's all really nice.
Spoons.
It's the kind of place where they won't allow a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because like, the town's too nice. It would like,
But there's one up the road, isn't there?
near Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can. Yeah, when they opened that was like life changing.
Life changing.
Life-changing. All right.
Right, mate. What's going on? Are you doing it now? Are you taking over?
We need to get him to sniff the microphone. Like,
Is the dog always in the podcast? No.
no,
This is a new thing.
We do have a lot of dogs in the building all the time, though.
It's a dog friendly zone.
That's
here.
good.
Yeah, it's very dog
Do you
friendly.
both have dogs?
There's a lot of dogs. Yeah.
I
have a
don't
dog?
have a dog. No.
No. When so Saffron Walden,
Yeah.
early 90s, plastic boards.
Yeah.
'Cause
they had a mini ramp. I remember that.
Yeah, I skated that.
Yeah, that wooden one.
By the
like basically
where
perfect.
the park is
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah. So I could drop in on that. I remember dropping in on that when I was 8 or whatever.
24-foot wide. It had extensions on the left.
5 foot extension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They
it was-
they moved. I like weirdly remember that they moved it. It was like one
Yeah.
place and they moved it somewhere
Yeah.
else.
And there was also a youth club that did Wednesday night
Oh
skate nights in
yeah.
Saffron
Yeah. I
Walden.
remember that.
And we heard about it. I remember going there a few times. It was never on when we went.
They had like a few obstacles.
They probably heard we were coming and were like, put it
That was
away
probably
quickly.
Crook, Stuart Crook. Do you remember Stuart Crook?
Yeah. Was he from Saffron Walden too?
I think so. He definitely lived there. Yeah, he
I
was
think
like.
he's from Cambridge.
Okay,
I
that.
remember skating that spot at one of the universities in Cambridge, the undercover wooden benches. Do you remember that spot?
No.
It's pretty sick actually. Looking back, it's probably still there. Really smooth, like slabs, but they were like shiny slabs, and they were really well built.
Yeah.
Undercover with.
Well, it was
wooden
all
benches.
slabs. The
Yeah.
whole place.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Was it the one
But
that had
undercover.
the bank, the L-shaped bank?
The old
that
bank.
one, yeah, the L bank.
It was near there.
Yeah,
But
I remember that.
I remember skating there once, and Crook was there.
Yeah, Crook was.
Can we talk about Crook?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I
'Cause
think
Kate-
he's like normalish now. Not that well, yeah, he had his moments.
Normal-ish.
He
He
had
had
his
like,
moments.
yeah, he had his moments.
Yeah, but was that from smoking too much?
Yeah, I reckon so. He
So-
came to, yeah, we went. He was always quite weird. So he was like basically he was the good old guy in
Yeah.
town. So he was like, I don't know, we'd have been like 14, and he was in his mid-20s, I guess, which
He
seems
was
super
good at
old. Yeah, he
skating,
was
he-
so good,
Yeah,
but he just had like a weird attitude and like,
because he smoked too much weed.
yeah,
And
and then
he's
stopped
kind of-
smoking weed,
Yeah,
and then was like all like herbal Tai Chi and just like.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, and everything that you did was wrong. And yeah, we all went to Australia, and like he was vegetarian, and the problem was always food, obviously. So yeah, he was.
someone ate his banana.
Yeah, I yeah, I had his banana. Yeah, but he said I could. Well, it wasn't. That wasn't even that bad. That was a tiny little episode. So basically, we were in Australia for 6 weeks, and from the first night, he was mad because we're just skating all day, and we had a van, and we're just driving around. Zorlak was there, J-Bone, Cates, Nicholson, Hemming, yeah,
Dibs.
Dibs was there. But yeah, the first night, just skating all day, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna just get food. So we just like I think we just all got like pizza or something. And he was like, oh, I can't eat there. Like, you know, it's like too dirty. They've got meat everywhere. So he just like disappeared for hours, 2 hours. It was dark. We're like, where's he fucking gone? And then he'd like just walked 5 miles to get a pizza, and he'd come back like, oh, yeah, I've walked 5 miles to get this pizza, and it's probably got meat on it. And then he was pissed at us that he chose to be a vegetarian and go get his vegetarian pizza.
But didn't he say the place you were getting pizza from probably had meat there? And...
Yeah, so it was weird. So yeah, so he was like pissed off. Day 1, pissed off. Day 2, we had a barbecue by another skate park. So obviously they got like free barbecues everywhere. It's Australia. And he was like, oh, that barbecue's too dirty. That's had too much meat on it. We're like, it's Australia. They've all had meat on them. And then he just like went off, found another barbecue, came back an hour later, had eaten on his own, and then he had a melon. He'd bought like this, I guess half a melon, and it's like, I bought this melon for all of us, and he just like smashed it on the floor, and then he was like flipped us off, and then he just went off, and that was day 2. And I think Zorlak had already left at this point. I think after day 1,
Didn't
Zorlak
Zorlak, because J-Bone was about, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
they-
Didn't he
yeah.
go off to meet J-Bone or something?
J-Bone was there. He'd joined us, and he was in the van. But yeah, I think after the first night, they were just gone. We just
Zorlak
woke
was
up and
just
they were.
like,
They
yeah.
just went to do Zorlak J-Bone stuff, which
Yeah.
didn't involve like people smashing melons and yeah.
Random thing.
You mentioned all the OG Harlow boys there. Like, when did your time in Saffron Walden move over to Harlow? Did you actually live in Harlow in the end? I can't remember.
No, I lived with Monk for a little bit,
Yeah.
Dan Monk, but never properly. I moved to Harrow 18 or 19.
Right.
Lived with Cates at the house of
In the
Doom.
garage at the
Yeah,
House
in the
of
garage
Doom.
for a few years, and then I moved out of there. I basically moved all my stuff out to my mum's, and then just like travelled. So kind of didn't live anywhere for a few years. But
Tell
then I'd
us
stay at
about living
Monk's.
at the House of Doom.
Where the
that?
nickname came from.
Oh,
That's all I wanted.
Sorry, yeah. Where's the horsey nickname?
okay, that came
Get it
from
out.
Harlow. So that came from when I was probably like 16 or 17. There's a guy I knew. He looked like Boy George. So I'd take the
Okay.
piss. So he looked identical to Boy George. So we'd take the piss out of him. And all he had back was that I had hair like a horse. So I had like you remember the fringe.
Yeah.
So then he would just say that, well, you got hair like a horse. And I'm like, all right, nice one. But then Kate's heard it. And
Oh, of course.
then every time he'd phone me up, he'd just be like, horsey, horsey. And then it just wouldn't go away. And I hated it at first. And it just, it stuck. So every fucker.
It's a pretty good nickname for skateboarding.
But it's such a ridiculous. And then people like introduce me like, this is horsey. And people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck's that? You have to explain. But
Yeah, I mean, when Kate's was around you, it was always just, horsey,
Yeah.
horsey,
And it's
constantly.
the same still.
It just-
Kate hasn't changed, I don't think. Like
No.
in 20 years. Well, you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he has changed. He's just.
He's got a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little bit more
Stingy.
serious.
That's impossible.
If anything, he's got a little bit like he relaxes a bit more. Like he spends a bit and he eats vegetables now. We went to the calf. So that's like another story. I live in Margate with him. Well, not
Yeah.
with him. He's just down the road from me. So we, get breakfast and he'll get like toast. He'll get the cheapest thing basically, but it'll be
Toast
like
with mushrooms on it. or
toast with
something.
mushrooms. Always toast with mushrooms.
Yeah,
And I'll have
cheapest
like,
option.
I'll have like a normal breakfast and I'll have toasted mushrooms and I'm not paying $2.50 for a cup of tea. I'm like, that's just what tea costs in a
Yeah.
calf.
Yeah.
It's not just that. It's somebody's bringing it to you and making it, and you're inside somewhere sat at a table. It's not just
Yeah, he doesn't
the
like
cost
that.
of tea. Yeah, vegetables has always been a funny one with him, hasn't it? Over the years, like he wasn't. I don't know if we spoke about this on this episode, but didn't his mum say to him if you don't eat vegetables, you're not gonna have the bike you wanted for Christmas or something like that.
Oh,
and he went, okay, I'm going to have my bike.
On that,
just
that was it for vegetables.
And I think probably
I think he's I think he eats better. He's got a wife now.
Yeah, she
Kat, and
probably-
she's amazing. So she probably looks after him.
Let's talk about Harlow a bit because I love those guys. Did you ever skate with Ricky Martin, who is the art ninja?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember him from back in Harlow days?
Yeah,
I didn't know he was from Harlow,
Yeah.
but obviously he's in Bristol now. But he was on the show.
Is he kind of famous now?
Yeah.
Like proper famous?
Yeah.
Doing what, like kids stuff?
Have you not showed?
I've
Hux?
seen
Art
Ninja.
No.
Ninja.
Oh, dude,
I
get
knew
on
like
it.
he was doing it, and it was,
Yeah,
but it's big now.
he will love it.
Yeah, he was always about. He was kind of like part of the crew, but kind of on the.
Art Ninja.
Oh, he's got no hair.
So me and
Well,
Rex watched it a lot. We don't so much anymore, but when he came here, he was rad. Like,
when he still skates and he's.
yeah, he's still at it.
amazing.
He still does all he does graphics and animation
Yeah.
stuff for a lot of companies like Vans and things
Is
like
this
that.
what BBC?
Yeah,
Or-
it's
oh,
on.
It's nice when he was here because he.
iPlayer.
Oh, he
Because
did this.
He put
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
it's nice because when he was here, he put a lot of time into seeing Rex, didn't he?
Yeah, so he
And like
we
being
took-
in character
Yeah.
for Rex.
Oh, was it? Okay.
He drew the drawing on the wall to your left.
It made Toby look like 20 times more handsome though,
Yeah.
somehow.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, you're already handsome.
You look kind
AF.
of like the guy from Nickelback. a little
Yeah,
bit.
I like it. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
We
This is how
we took
you remind me.
when he was here. We took
Not like me to say sorry. There
Wait,
you
who's,
go.
we took Rex out of school to meet him,
Yeah.
and he was stoked.
Oh, but it's like
Now he
his
does
hero.
weird stuff like this.
Yeah, he does crazy animation
All
stuff.
these
but-
animations.
But
and
he's
shit.
he's good fun. So Harlow back in the day, the mini ramp there, the L-shaped ramp,
Oh yeah.
the big set of stairs and stuff like that. That was
Yeah.
kind of a good spot, wasn't it?
That
Like,
was-
the ramp
yeah,
was sick,
that
and
was-
you had Big Worms, which
Oh,
turned
yeah.
into Motel
Yeah,
Motel
Hemming,
6.
yep.
Big up Hem.
Yep.
That was a tight scene, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's probably when I first started going there, when they had that ramp. I think one of the first times I went there was coming back from PlayStation, Base 66,
Yeah.
and we stopped there on the way back to Saffron Walden. And we went
Yeah.
there, and like Steve Bailey was there. I think
Yeah.
Scott Bourne was there.
Yeah.
And it was like what the hell? Like
Yeah.
having something like that, like it kind of like
Nicholson.
yeah, Nicholson was there.
Big up
That's when Nicholson did. Yeah, and we had that photo in Sidewalk with document the alley oop 270 frontside grab.
Yeah.
Like, and I think he might have done that day, probably because Scott Bourne was there and he was like on it. But yeah, that ramp was amazing, and the scene was so good, like proper scene, skateboarders, and like this,
The shop
which is
was
what we didn't
good.
obviously. Yeah, the shop was great.
Monk was rad.
Monk is the best.
Do you
I
still
love
see
Monk.
him?
No, no, not that often. Obviously, he's still in Harlow. He's tattooing in Harlow
Yeah.
still.
He always made me laugh.
But we
so
always
much.
like Instagram chat, like,
so
and just
funny, isn't
send.
he?
He'll still send me like skate stuff, and he like still wants to. He's always talked about doing like, basically he loves shit talking, just like shit talking video parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like send
He'd
me
be good
stuff.
at that.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, that was it was a good time around there in Harlow, wasn't it? And then, like you're saying, moving to the House of Doom.
Yeah, because
How
that would
did
have
that
been.
all happen? And who was living in the house at that point?
You talked to us about Dibs.
No, we're not going to talk about Dibs.
Why can't we not talk about Dibs?
I said to Kate's I wouldn't just end up talking about Dibs for 3 hours.
But
Yeah,
Dibbles
but we
the best.
do
But
love Dibs.
was
Big up
Oh,
Dibs.
we do love Dibs.
I seen him.
I love
I seen him a
Dibs.
couple of weeks ago.
But
What do you mean? Oh, we do love Dibs.
Or like I love. Well, we had a falling out. I stopped following him on Instagram just because he's a little bastard now. Like he's like there's something about him. Like because before, like obviously how Dibs is, you know Dibs, and you kind of like would give him shit, and you get that reaction. And now like there's no reaction. He just like tries to give it back, and it doesn't work. And you're just like, oh, nice one, mate.
Dibbles got a heart of gold. He's a lovely dude.
Yeah, he is lovely. Yeah, but he is like a little.
But you don't follow him. Can't be that
No,
lovely then, can he?
no, but he'll like send me updates. He'll just text me pictures of his face. Like he'll be in the bath and he'll just send me this like close up, not showing the piece, like but just in the bath.
And my God, it is a piece.
Yeah, it's can you no you can't show that.
We can't.
Well, you can show it, but you know when you can like blur it out and it's just like you can you know what's there.
It's
The best
just-
is always running out of the sea in
That's what I mean. The sea shot of him
Squadrophenia,
running out.
but it's like slapping about.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
a big dick.
I had like a screenshot of that on my phone. I'm not that guy. Yeah, and it was honestly like it's like that. I guess it was a bit of slapping, a bit of like the force of that. But yeah, it was honestly.
It's a lot of force,
the
mate.
gravity extending
Yeah,
it.
I've seen it way down. He made me cry once when we were skating. We were in
It's mad to go from talking about his knob to him making you cry.
No, but he cried. No, I cried because of his knob. We were in SOAS. We were skating in London with like the Rugged Raw crews. We're all out. Everyone's out. We're just skating a spot. SOAS, the little gap that everyone used to skate. Skipping through. But no, he wasn't even skipping. But you know, like you can see the grid. And I was like, what's that one? I clicked on it. Him completely naked. Completely naked on his bed, spread with his socks on, and you could with the piece out, and it was like so gnarly, so horrible. I cried, but I managed to get a photo of it on my phone, and then I
Have you got it on your phone now?
I know I could probably find it, but it was like it was unbelievable, just like that, socks on, completely naked, and he was like he gets all giggly, like he's always giggling because he knows what he's got and he likes it. He doesn't really, because he doesn't skate really anymore. Him and Kate's don't really hang out, or they don't hang out for the last like almost 15 years.
Don't hang out.
They can't hang out. I don't think, they're just.
But why?
No.
What?
Dibs sent him a shit in the post. So Dibs sent him a shit.
Can we just cut back in there and send him a shit in the post?
So Dibs sent him a shit in the post just before Christmas. And I was living at the house. And I know that like Kate was away for 2 weeks. So like if that ever you get mail, it goes in your cupboard, your food cupboard. So the shit would have sat in Kate's food cupboard for a couple of weeks.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So,
I'm assuming it was a Dibble shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, they've never
I mean,
really.
good on Dibble.
Yeah, and they've not really spoken. They'll like see each other. Like I've been with them when they've seen each other, and it's awkward. But yeah, they can't.
Because they were kind of like a dynamic duo.
Yeah, they were best mates.
chaos, weren't they?
If you listen to the Squadrophenia, did you ever listen to when they do like the commentary over Squadrophenia?
Yeah.
And it's Nicholson, Cates, Ginger Steve, and Ginger Steve's like pissed as fuck. But I think Cates is pissed, and he's like, oh, like Dibs, like I love you. Like at no point in my life do you can't not be my best friend. Like I love you so much. And then like No.
Cut
like,
to Dibble
divorce.
posting his own shit to Cates.
Yeah, it all went a bit tits up,
Fucking hell, that is
sadly.
gnarly.
But he still loves him. Like he would. I think Cates would love to be mates with him, but he just,
Yeah.
you know, what Cates is like. He's
Can't
like,
get over that.
No,
Yeah.
can't be mates.
So who else was living in the house of doom when you were there?
So,
Cates
yeah,
was upstairs.
So I moved there. I
Hitchcock's?
think 2004.
James Hitchcock?
Yeah, Hitchcock's was upstairs. Cates was there. Zorlak was obviously there.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Yeah, and I was in the garage. So
Yeah.
they just converted the garage. They put a little fake wall up. So I was there for 4 years,
Nice.
which is it was fantastic. Cold.
What's some of the? Give us some of your best House of Doom
God,
stories.
I just remember like every weekend there'd be just a bunch of stinkers in the
In that
living
living
room,
room.
like the Sunday tossers.
Yeah.
Everyone would just come. Schooner, Richie just turned up just out of nowhere, and they were just in there for like months.
Yeah.
Carl Green and his brother Devon.
Yeah.
People just come. You know, it was just that kind of. It was a skate house. It would be like, like anyone anywhere would just be like, I know someone in London. Just go stay with them.
Yeah.
And everyone would just stay. The floor was like,
Gravitate to the death house.
yeah, and it was like I just remember like the carpet was just like we had to clean it all once because we had like a house inspection. We don't know the cleaners, and like it was like black sludge because just like everyone just spilling like drinks and food.
I remember staying on the sofa one time when I was doing some work for Zorlak, and no one else was there, and I could hear this like rustling noise. I looked down, there was a mouse in my bag.
Yeah, there's rats. There was just like a stink for ages, and it was a rat under the stairs had got in. Like there's were like loads of like sleeping bags under the stairs. So it was like rat.
Didn't Richie live under the
rat
stairs for a bit
paradise.
as well, didn't he? He's kind of
I
the
thought
staircase went
Dibs used to sleep in
round,
there.
didn't it?
Zorosh used to stay in there.
Yeah, he'd sleep under the ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the original House of Doom, Scott Bourne stayed under the ramp for like a whole summer, which was in Harrow.
How did Zorlak say that he caught the rat? He told us a rat story. Like he put
Always had rats.
he
There's
put
always
something on the floor at the wall, and it.
No, he was telling us about how to get rid of ants.
Oh,
said
okay.
put
Yeah, you
some-
should like put some honey outside.
Yeah,
something.
outside
Oh.
your house, they'll go to that rather than go into
go in
your
your
house.
house. Yeah, okay. We
So-
always had rats. Always rats, and
Yeah,
it's pretty stinking. But it was like the perfect skater when you're like a young skater kid. It was
tube
like the
station
best
just at the end of the street.
ramp
pretty
at the end
much.
of the garden,
Yeah,
like
it
the
was-
best mini ramp. Do you ever see the Day in the Life? Did you film the Day in the Life?
I filmed the Day
You
in the
filmed the
Life.
Day in the Life because I was like, yeah, because like Nicholson's in it, so yeah, you filmed it. So that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that
say that's like how it was, but that was a good example
Yeah,
of what
that
it was like.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Funny times. How did it go? Like your first sponsor was Death, right?
Yeah.
And how
Well,
did
yeah.
that come
there's,
about? Was that just
Big Worms, Harlow
Big
first?
Worms?
So Death came about from Big Worms. So basically, when we went to Australia, which was kind of like a Big Worms trip, Cates was on Big Worms, so all of us went. And I hadn't met. I'd seen Cates. We hadn't really ever hung out, so I went to Australia with those guys, and then got to know Cates, which was like February at the start of the year, and then I think in like November, we went to Barcelona. Like I planned a trip to Barcelona, like 2003 Barcelona, which was like prime time.
Peak time.
Yeah.
For
So
seeing-
I'd arranged it because I was like, oh yeah, like this is a good idea. Let's go to Barcelona. So I planned it. And we basically had like a 2-room flat in Barcelona for like 8 of us that I'd organised as a mess. Like
Yeah.
Monk was on the floor, Dibs, Hemming, Nicholson, like kind of, that
Carnage.
stuff. Yeah. But then after that, Kate's like, oh, so-and-so, Wingy was living there in the garage.
Of course,
Wingy
yeah.
moved out. I moved in at the start of the year.
Big up Wingy.
Yeah, Wingy's a
Love
ledge.
Wingy.
So yeah, that was 2004, I think.
And then that
2005.
just moved on to you getting on
Yeah,
Death
so
and-
it wasn't like I hadn't moved there kind of thinking I'd skate for Death, but it kind of all worked out. So yeah, just like, I was like Zorlak's around and we were skating, and like every weekend there'd be like a trip, we'd just drive somewhere and do
There was
something.
a lot going on around that time,
That
wasn't
was
there? I mean,
when-
like there was a lot of Death boards being sold.
Yeah. That's when Squadrophenia was,
Squadrophenia time,
Nicholson
like-
was there editing that.
Yeah.
That'd been,
It was like a real hub of
yeah.
activity. And
That
that's
was
kind
the-
of when I was knocking about
Yeah.
a bit then as well, from the Squadrophenia tour, that too.
Yeah, because that would have been what Squadrophenia came out that summer,
I think so, yeah.
and then
There was
and then
two
Escape from
week
Boredom
tours,
was in
wasn't
there.
there?
Yeah,
Two-
yeah. Oh
two
yeah, the
one-week
2
tours,
separate
one
tours.
up north, one south.
Yeah,
Don't really remember the south one too much.
I don't remember the
Did we go to
south.
Portsmouth? Didn't we go
Went
to
to Portsmouth.
Guernsey or something?
That's an Eastpack trip.
Was it?
We're like, did we go with like Snoopy and Nicholson?
Yeah,
Nicholson
Nicholson
was there. Nicholson forgot his board.
He forgot his board and
Yeah.
just had really bad seasick
Yeah, it was
for the
just
whole
sick
time.
all night. Yeah, got
And-
to the boat, whatever the boat.
That was
yard.
pretty gnarly, actually. That last night, I shared a room with Nicholson, and I was like out cold, exhausted, sleeping, and I heard Nicholson come in, and there's all this like fumbling around, smashing stuff, and I heard him puking. I was like, oh, he's puking. Got up in the morning, left, and there was puke everywhere in the room. I was like, holy shit.
What was this, on the boat or just
No, in the hotel
Oh, just
room.
like just being pissed, just being
Everywhere.
Oh, jeez.
It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
But it
Bring-
was,
bring a-
the funniest bit about that hotel, don't put this in. When we got to...
Why is he not going in?
Because
Getting censored.
Eastpack paid for it, right?
Yeah,
They're
but
not
that
bad
was
anymore.
20 years ago.
Nick Street
Oh yeah.
was like, Toby, can you room up with Blackwell and keep an eye on him? And we went to this room and I was thinking, fuck, how can I get out of being in a room with Blackwell? We're getting there and Blackwell gets out like his toiletries bag and he has all this shit like deodorant, moisturisers,
Oh yeah.
perfume, like
Yeah.
shitload of stuff. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how I did
Well,
it.
that was the turn off. Or the,
I was like,
some moisturizer.
that was peak Blackwell, like
Yeah.
peak Blackwell.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember what I did, but I was like, oh, blah, 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 and just
That was
left
what, was
and-
that like early mum neck Blackwell?
Yeah,
Just when you had that
yeah.
done. Yeah, yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I
Eastpack
can't remember what
demos.
excuse I made, but he ended up having his own room, and I shared with Nicholson.
And he puked up everywhere.
puked up everywhere.
That's better than Blackwell's.
But this is
moisturiser.
just a totally random thing. Were you on the ferry going to Guernsey for that?
Yeah,
that trip? Do
yeah.
you remember how bad seasickness?
Yeah, I puked off the side.
Everybody was
Yeah, I was
puking. I don't
puking.
know how I managed to keep it
yeah, I
together.
remember
It
having
was
like a
the
bacon
worst-
roll and then just like puking
It was
instantly.
the worst ferry ride.
But I thought that's how
I've
it's supposed to be. Just like this
Nah,
is how
wrong
you
with
ride
it
a
was
ferry.
gnarly.
I don't
It was
know.
proper.
And did we drive all night and drink
Fuck, it
in
was
and just got it in the
horrible.
morning? But
No,
yeah, it was a
I was
mess.
driving that one. I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't drink then, but like
It was just a bit of a weeble
it was
wobble.
gnarly. There was
Was this-
people puking up in all of the toilets, all
Everywhere.
around the boat over the edge. There was people throwing up everywhere, which obviously doesn't help if you're feeling a bit.
Yeah,
queasy.
you
It's
just
like,
see it.
They're puking. They're puking. There was kids like. "Bleh." It was just like one of those crossings. It was just gnarly. And we got off and we got to like dry land on the other side, and Nicholson kind of like stumbled out and just collapsed, and he was
Yeah.
just there for the whole trip. And
Didn't
it's
skate,
he's
obviously,
like, I
no
forgot my
board.
board.
Yeah.
How long is the ferry?
I know, like hour and
Not
a half.
that long,
or
yeah,
something.
hour and a
It's-
half.
it's
Yeah,
not-
it's close.
It's not like.
Oh,
that
I love
far.
a good ferry.
Oh, it was fucking horrible.
I don't even know why we were there or what was going on. Just like you'll get in the car.
There was
go
a
to-
shop in Guernsey that did well with Death, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
And they
And Eastpack just paid.
yeah,
I just remember skating that boat. Remember there's that boat?
yeah, that was over there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Eastpack needs to come back into skating because it
Yeah,
sounded
they
like
do.
they threw a lot of money
Yeah,
into
they
it.
did. For
They
a
did.
little while.
They really
It's
helped
probably
out with
why
that
they're
stuff
not
back
here
then.
anymore.
wasted their money. They just did like mini ramp demos with Cates and Blackwell in like
Yeah.
Butlins.
Cates was
Yeah, I
talking
did
to
that.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did
Oh, you were
that.
on that?
Yeah.
You
And
said
Blackwell
that-
would jump off over the.
You said some of those were the worst, like
Yeah.
the worst people there as well, just proper oi
Yeah,
oi.
yeah. The actual guys who were running that trip would fucking.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
They were fucking
Yeah,
the
sounds
worst. So riding for Death, you were on there for how many years? The first instance.
First, probably like 6.
And you turned pro for Death. There's your first pro board
Yeah,
there.
that was the first one.
What's
like
the
2007.
Wait, how did you actually end up getting on Death? You said you were skating
Oh,
around Zorlak, and
well-
because everyone else we've had on, they kind of say it happened organically, and Zorlak was like, "Here's a box of boards," and
Well, it's
they were
because I was
like,
kind of living with him, with everyone, and
Did
then
you
I'd
work
be around
in
it.
the
I was
distro
getting
side
I was
for a
getting
while?
I was buying boards,
Yeah.
and then I made like a sponsor me tape, and I didn't really know what to do with it. Like I was thinking, like because Foz was around, I was like, oh, like I almost like didn't want to be that guy to be like Zorlak, like here's my tape, like check it out.
VHS tape as well.
VHS, proper VHS.
You still got it.
Maybe at my mum's. A lot of the tricks went into Squadrophenia. So I
Yeah.
got on just before Squadrophenia. So that all went into that. But yeah, I think, I didn't want to be like, Nick, please, like, sponsor me.
Please.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to give it to Foz. But then I guess he saw it and then he probably like talked to Cates and to Nicholson and then it kind of like happened, I guess, organically. Without, you know, it was like, that was the dream, was to get on Death, but without trying to be like,
Without trying to get on Death.
basically.
Yeah.
And it all worked out. But yeah, I think that came out like 2007 or 8. Need to fact check. But yeah, Todd did this one. Well, Todd did Todd Bratrud. I think that was one of the first. That was definitely the first, these two. And that was one of the last ones.
Who is
Similar
that
theme.
graphic based on? Who is the girl?
This person called Vicky Blows.
Oh,
It was
porn
like
star.
No, she was like
Was she
in
not?
like Front
Like Nuts
magazine.
magazine and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
basically that.
Did you know her?
No, I just had like a kind of a little crush on her when I was younger. So I was just like, yeah, because when we were like the idea, I think I said to him, I was like, I've got this idea where
There
like
she is.
a dead horse that cut its head off.
That's proper like MySpace era.
Yeah, proper.
Alt girl.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been the sort of time. So
I
yeah, I was just like,
remember her.
just like a girl on like the horse's head in the thing, like a, you know, like what do you call him, a toy horse.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was like, oh, this girl just like used that as a basis, and then it kind of made like a fitting tribute her again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good graphic though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it's all
Todd
got
did that
like
one as well. Was that like, how did that work out getting Todd Bratrud to do the graphic for that?
well, I was friends with him at the time, so I'd
Are you
so
not
yeah.
friends with him anymore?
Yeah. No, or like,
sounded-
yeah.
it
Well, no,
sounded
like, you
like-
know, like sometimes you just get a graphic done, you just kind of
Yeah.
go to someone like do this. But no, we were mates. So basically, at the House of Doom, these two guys, Kyle and Devon Green, stayed at the house, and they were from Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So the connection there was Consolidated. So they knew Todd, who was working at Consolidated. So they were coming to town. So then Nick and Consolidated. So yeah, Letitia to Nick, and it's like, just come stay out. So they stayed at the house, and then so basically they were there for like a month or 6 weeks at the house, just skating. And they went home, and they're like, oh, if you ever like come to America, like, you know, come stay at ours. And then like coincidentally, luckily, I got 5 numbers on the national lottery, so I got 5 out of 6. So you know, like the proper normal lottery.
I didn't know this.
This was a long time ago. So
How
yeah,
much you
so
win?
well, this is the story. The annoyance. So I didn't check. So I happened on a Saturday. I didn't check. Monday going to work on the train. I was like, oh, I'll check in the paper. So I checked 5 numbers out of 6. I'm like, oh shit, this is good. So I called my sister because this was like kind of pre on your phones being able to check.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I've got 5 numbers. Can you check? And then she called me back. She's like, oh my God, you've won £89,000. And I was like, oh my days. Like, yes, like thinking like this, all the stuff I could do. And then she phoned me back 5 minutes later. She was like, oh no, that's 5 in the bonus. So I won £1,000, just over £1,000.
Oh, what?
So I got £1,000. Yeah, for 5 out of 6.
That's-
It would have been 3 million or a grand.
grand.
Yeah.
That don't seem right,
Yeah.
does it?
But I got £1,000, but then I literally got that money, got it in cash, went to the airport because again before like you could book tickets, just went and then paid about 350 quid for a ticket. Went to see those guys, and then that.
Did
kind
you
of,
tell them you were coming?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't just
Did
show
you
up.
do it on the day? Just like, here's some money,
'Cause
get me
you-
a flight.
Yeah, because I'd tried to book it. I knew roughly how much it would be, but I couldn't book it. I didn't know how to really book it. It's like
Well, how would you have booked prior to that? Like booking agents in like,
Yeah, you'd have
going
to go
like
through-
a
yeah.
holiday resort.
or like Thomas Cook it and just
Yeah.
like do it that way. But I just
Yes,
I
yes,
literally went and just like cash and then just on the plane. It's great, so easy back
Yeah.
then.
And how long did you stay there that time?
I think like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think and then that was the kind of the beginning of just going back constantly.
So
Like
how
I
many
was
times did you go backwards and forwards?
to Santa Cruz probably like 5 times,
Yeah.
and then Todd moved. So yeah, Todd was living at Consolidated in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So I was just staying there and staying with Kyle and Devon. And then Todd ended up moving to Costa Mesa for work. He was doing a lot of work for Volcom. Volcom was there in Flip. So he was doing loads of stuff for Flip.
Yeah.
So everyone was kind of like not too far. So I was just staying with him. I probably went there I was going like 3 or 4 times a year for like 6 weeks to 2 months at a time.
Yeah.
At one point I came back and then went back a week later. But that was when I was like doing like stuff for Crew and Supra as well. So kind of like tying in just like
Yeah.
proper trips and just like I'd work a little bit here, save up and just go out there for like as long as possible. And living off like $10 a day. Having like just eating shit.
But you can kind of do that when you're younger.
Yeah.
can't you? Like-
Oh yeah. We'd always go to like Trader Joe's, which was like cheap. You get like bananas, water, $2 bottle of wine, and then you'd have like 1 proper meal in the day, and that's fine. But yeah, it was good.
So turning pro for Death, and then what other sponsors have you got? Because you
Back then,
yeah.
that was there would have been probably Supra. I was on Vans for a little bit, so I was getting Vans through Christian Stevenson.
Who's now a barbecue god, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's the king of barbecue. Yeah,
Isn't that Chris's name here as well? Chris Stevenson. We've got a Chris Stevenson here.
yeah.
It's not South African though.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not,
He's
the
from
same,
Derby.
it's not the same
Okay.
guy.
He's DJ barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he was the team manager. So yeah, so I was getting Vans, and then Powley became the TM.
When Powley became the TM of Vans, a lot happened.
Yeah, he
did like a lot of
Yeah,
stuff,
oh yeah,
skating-wise.
yeah. Powley just kind of like changed it all and like did really good, like kind of revolutionized it. Because
Yeah.
Christian was kind of focused on like the Groms, which is like Chris Vile, Ollie Tyman,
Yeah.
Raemers, who else? Sam Bruce. Yeah, and then Powley was just like kind of changed it all. But yeah, I didn't know Powley that well then. And then I was still on, and they were doing that tour. They did like that random tour, which was like 2006, 7.
What
And
was it
they-
called?
don't know.
What's it called? Like Where Art?
I don't
that-
know.
was
You
that a
could probably
Vans one?
find it on the old. I don't even know.
Yeah, try and Google like Vans
Yeah,
Tour
did it
2006.
Did it turn into a cover-mounted DVD or something like
Yeah,
that?
it was like a proper thing. I haven't got Grovers on it and all sorts
Yeah.
of it. But basically, like, it was weird because I didn't know Powley. We didn't know each other. So he was like, "Oh, you can come on the start of the tour, but then we're gonna have to leave you in Leeds." And I'm like, "There's no room in the van." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm not really-
Warped tour.
No.
No, I'm sure it was like Where Art Thou or
It's in the
something.
UK. It was in the UK.
But
Um,
anyway, yeah, you look in the background for us.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he was like, "Oh, yeah, we have to leave you at Leeds because there's no room because they're picking up so and so." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm not really down for that." And then I just kind of ended up quitting. And then I was speaking to Munson about maybe Duff's.
Mm,
I was a bit unsure about that because I was
Fucking
seeing
love
Munson a
Munson.
lot.
Are we there yet?
that's it.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. Where art
2007.
thou?
There you
That's
go.
pretty much. It's pretty much the fucking
Pretty
thing.
close.
Yeah,
Who re-uploaded it 4 years ago?
probably Swift Blazer, right? He
It's
has.
Yamaha.
Yamaha, that's
Churchill there.
who's Andy Evans
Oh, is it?
is Yamaha.
Oh, he probably
yeah.
filmed it. Yes, yeah, I wasn't really part. Yeah, there you go. That's where they wanted to kick me out near Leeds. So I was like, I'm not really down for that. So I just quit. So I'm not down for that. And then, yeah, I ended up speaking to someone. Put me in touch with Ben Bodilly
Ben Diddley.
because he was doing Supra.
Yeah.
It might have even been you,
Was it?
possibly, because they were with like TKC back
Maybe.
then.
Rob were talking about Ben Diddley.
So we were hanging out a lot then because that's when Saff and Walden had that skate park built.
That's right. Yeah.
And we filmed that little video. Remember that? We filmed a little. Me and you don't remember that? Oh, find that.
I don't remember anything. I'm so
me-
bad.
So me skating. I don't even know what you'd put. Horsey, Saff and Walden skate park. You filmed it because Billy Dickfingers had the guest trick doing the layback board slide.
Yeah. That wasn't really a video. That was just
No,
like
that
a
was just.
little-
But that was like a pre kind of like obviously like early YouTube.
Boom.
There you
straight
go.
away.
Let's watch the whole thing
It's probably really bad.
because then when it comes,
It's got a good little tune.
Has it? I don't remember any of
remember.
it.
I haven't watched it for years, but yeah,
I know you do,
2007.
It's on your
like a
channel as
Wally
well,
back
Toby.
lip thing.
Yeah.
it's on your channel.
Oh, is it?
How many views? Like
Look at that.
25.
20k
yeah.
views.
Whee!
It's on VX1.
That was when, yeah, just when they first built it, 'cause it's
Yeah.
like mud.
My friend Ryan
Yeah,
in
look.
Leicester that I grew up skating with, he used to love foot plant fakies because you did them. He always had your boards
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
Oh,
It was
what a good
amazing.
lad.
Yeah, he was a
Oh, good lad.
he was a massive
Oh.
Horsey fan. I never saw the hype.
Yeah.
No, he was a massive. He's a massive fan of yours though, so that's nice.
Is it you cropping me out? Is that, look at that, tech.
That is super
You were
tech.
tech.
I was tech for a
Kicky
bit.
nose like Biggie out.
But it was that time, I swear that you'd said that Bo Dilly was doing Supra.
Oh,
and
maybe.
then I
Yeah,
somehow
maybe.
got a hold of him and then just like went
so
to
it's
see
down
him.
to me.
Basically, you kind of helped me, like, basically.
You guided him onto
Yeah.
this path of
So you
life.
got on Supra.
So yeah, got on Supra. Went to see Bo Dilly. He was living in Shoreditch. Went to see him. But yeah, got on Supra. And then just started doing kind of Supra shit.
And then you ended up getting.
I got a shoe, yeah.
Your-
Why
Is
yeah.
that your own colourway or?
It was a colorway. The shoe was what was the shoe? Was it an Amigo? But yeah, it was me, Furby, and Boo Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all had. Was it Boo? Yeah, was it Boo? I can't remember. We did a trip.
It was Boo.
No, it might be Spencer Hamilton. Well, we went on a trip and it was like me, Furby, Spencer Hamilton, Boo. Where did we go?
Is that his
Texas. Went to Texas. It was like the most random.
Is that his actual name, Boo?
Yeah, Boo Johnson.
Yeah, Boo's sound. I tattooed Boo. I tattooed a joint on him, obviously. But yeah, Boo's. Yeah. Oh, and Keelan Dadd was there as well. Yeah, it's just a random. Yeah, just in Texas with like those legends, like proper skaters, and then like demos, like where there's like hundreds of people,
Yeah.
and we're like demo now.
So sorry,
it's like-
just jumping back a bit. So you got on Supra. We just phoned up Ben Badilli. Like, can I get on Supra? Yeah.
No, I
Like,
started chatting
what's
to
the
him.
timescale here? Because
Oh,
you
wait,
don't.
sorry.
You gone from like getting. Just calling him up to
Quitting
being out in
Van.
Texas with the full US team.
Well, no.
Were you getting paid as well?
Yeah, I ended up getting paid.
How
I was
much you get
getting
paid?
I can't tell you
You
that.
fucking
can.
yes, you
I can't
can.
remember.
You can.
Tell us, we'll bleep it out. We won't.
Well, you
I,
know,
think I don't know. I think about. I was getting paid from Europe, Supra and Crew. I ended up getting both. I can't remember, but it was enough to live by. So I was basically skateboarding was my job for probably a few years. But like money from Death. I don't know, probably like €500 a month or something, which like at the time was more than enough. And then some money from Death, and when we got the shoe, we got like shoe royalties, like a one-off check, which is quite nice.
How much was that?
I don't know, a couple thousand or something,
Nice.
which was much, but like when you're
It's better than no
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
thousands.
yeah.
That's the way you got to look at it.
But we with the first the sort of prototype of that was so stinking. It was like all white and red, and then I kind of like, because they were based in Costa Mesa, so when I was going there a lot, I could kind of
Go and
see
see
them.
what's
Yeah, go to
happening.
the office, and then we got the Essex swords
Big up.
Yeah.
in there, obviously. But yeah, that was So yeah, it wasn't like instant. I wasn't like I was on and I was like, oh my god, the next big thing. It was just like a slow. But
A
yeah, it was
slow
just
burner.
yeah. But there was like a couple years. It was kind of productive and doing stuff, and then yeah, all sort of the
So you were on
natural
crew as
progression.
well?
Yeah.
Nice. It's good. It seemed like a good hookup at the time.
Yeah,
A
it
lot
was
of people
great.
being on that.
It was pretty mental on the trips I did. Like I did
Yeah,
trips to like
Crew and Supra were really cool at that time. I remember Vaughan being involved with Crew
yeah. So Vaughan kind of got on towards the end.
2014.
Yeah, I was kind of on the way out, and Vaughan was coming in. I think Vaughan. Yeah, I did a trip with Vaughan. That wasn't for Crew, but yeah, Vaughan was coming in, and it was when he'd, I guess, left Blueprint,
Because he was in
and he
Barca.
wasn't sure what he was doing.
I think he lived in Barca for a while. Because
Yeah.
I went to Barca for a couple of months, and he'd like give us shoes and crew stuff.
Yeah.
And it was always like a size.
Yeah,
too
he
small.
kind of took. There was a job going. I think, but I don't know exactly. But yeah, there was a job going. I didn't want to work in skateboarding, and I think Vaughan kind of was easing into that role. So yeah, he worked for them for a bit, and then I just got kicked off abruptly. Classic, just like see you later.
Did you just get an email or
I
something?
didn't even get an email. I just saw like a tour poster without my name on it, and I was like, all right, nice. Yeah, that's the end of that. Then that was fun for a
Did
bit.
you wonder?
I wish I'd saved more samples, like the sky tops.
But like when that happened, were you kind of like, how did it? Where were
happen,
you
like-
with your skateboarding?
I
and-
was probably like on the sort of like the back end of like I was probably like getting close to 30, and I dislocated my toe on a crew trip in Paris, and then I'd done my knee in on a Send Help trip, and then it was kind of like things were slowing down, and then I'd done a trip, I had like a bad trip, crew trip. I didn't really get on with Lizard King that well.
Tell us.
We just kind of like, I don't know. I think it was a cruise trip, but yeah, we just like butted heads. I don't know if you know him or have ever hung out with him.
I've hung out with him.
He's like, yeah, he's a bit much sometimes. We just didn't get on it. But it was a weird trip. It was like me. I keep saying me. It was Lizard King, Penny, Bulala, Vaughan. And it was like this random, because obviously like Bulala couldn't skate. Penny wasn't skating. Vaughan was injured as well. So I think it was just me and Lizard King that could kind of skate.
The injured tour.
Yeah, basically this weird injured tour. And then there was like not much to do. So we were just like just drinking and like, and it's raining. It's like we went to Germany and all over the place. It was just like raining all the time. So it just wasn't much going on. So it was just kind of like a lot of drinking and then a lot of like shit talking and
Yeah.
And then we got to, I don't know where we ended up. I think we were in like Leeds or Manchester probably. And then it was just enough. I was like, fuck this, I'm going home. So I just like got the train, went home. And then the next step was in London. So I met them in London at that thing. And it was just awkward. But yeah, we just butted heads. He's just, well, I think he's like
Come
sober
on,
now.
tell us what happened.
He's just an arsehole. Well, then I did a trip with him the year before, which was like a crew trip. And it was like Greco, Ellington, Lizard King, Penny again. That's when I dislocated my toe. But it was sound. And it was like kind of, it was when Lizard King was like, the hype was there, but he wasn't like kind of too much. And he was really sound. I got on with him really well. And then the next year he was just like a fucking arsehole. And yeah.
Do you think he changed because of the hype around
I think so. Yeah, it was a bit of that. And I think it was just because it was such a weird trip and not really skating. And it was
Yeah.
just like a lot of boozing. It would just like, what else is there to do?
Have
Just
you
like
seen him
fight.
since?
I saw him in Denver like a year or so after,
And
but barely said hello to. I think like I just saw him. We didn't like acknowledge each other. But yeah. That was, yeah.
you got his number?
No.
Oh, I was going to say we FaceTime him now.
No, we
'cause-
can't. I don't know. I don't think I've got anyone's famous's number. But no, if I had his number, I'd
He
call
follows
him.
me on Instagram. We could just
Does
call
he?
him on Instagram.
Just
I think now he
do
kind of.
video call him on Instagram and go, hey, we got your old buddy here.
I think he needs like a bit of love and mates now. He's just got
I
like
don't know, I don't
CBD
really-
sponsors,
Yeah.
which I'm really happy that he's just got some CBD sponsors and
Yeah.
he kind of
And he's
deserves.
got pro skater in capitals in his Instagram bio.
Yeah.
Is he still
Yeah.
on Death Wish?
No, he got booted off that a long time
No.
ago, I think.
Why did he get booted off that?
I don't know. I'm not a part of that world. But maybe he's not being as productive. He's getting on a bit as
Yeah.
well, and you can only have that green room lifestyle.
Oh yeah, that
for
had to
so long.
stop. Well, because he went sober, so all the stuff that kind of was his character, he couldn't really have anymore. He couldn't be like, he's not that crazy. There he is, big Liz Biz. But he's still skating. I think
Yeah,
he's
still got a pro board.
He's still got
out.
a mean kickflip. He's working out.
He's got a pro board on like a different company now as well.
Yeah, it was weird because we did this one trip, and it was just obviously Penny was on it, and it was just mental. And we were like, I tattooed Liz King, Vaughn. We all got the same little like that, which is like off the top of an Amstel beer. That's the logo. So I remember tattooing them. I've got a photo actually somewhere. But yeah, like tattooing those guys. And then Penny was just like, Penny wasn't really drinking or not supposed to be or smoking, but he kind of every other night did. And he was just like shit-faced. He had like an empty bottle of Jägermeister and kept handing it around. And you'd be like, oh, thanks, Tom. And like pretend to sip and give it back to him. Like it was really strange. But yeah, I'm just tattooing those guys. And then Penny's like, it's in this like hotel, French hotel, these big curtains in the back. And he's just like in the curtains, just like rapping. So it's just, I got footage of it and I lost it. But yeah, he's just rapping about like Stevie Williams and like all this other shit. And it was like a pretty surreal moment. I had this video of him in the room and he's just like in a nose manual, but just like dead still with his arms by his side for like a minute, just standing there, just like dead to the world, balanced. It's like it's strange. Yeah, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, yeah.
I just want to go in quickly. And what are your favourite? Do you have any favourite filming with Toby moments for the Death videos? And what are your? You've had a couple of Death parts, but which one's your fondest? And any favourite Toby stories? Anything that he's not told us? Kate's always told me that all the women loved Toby, and Kate's,
always.
Kate's fucking hates it. He's always like, she used to love Toby, and I don't know why.
Yeah, he was always kind of bitter.
A bit jealous because
Toby. Oh yeah, it would have been jealousy.
Toby was the nice, quiet boy.
But you've always done quite well with women, right? Like you've always.
I mean,
yeah.
Thanks.
No, I don't,
is that the right response?
Favorite stories? I don't know. It's so
I
long
can't
ago.
really think of anything. I remember
like particular clips. I can't remember.
I remember everyone on one of the big pushes being really constipated. And I remember you like going, right, we're in the travel lodge. You're like, right, it's time. Going to the toilet, doing a shit.
I remember that.
Texting me a photo of you.
Oh,
shit.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like,
we were just like, we're like Moggins, the sort of Moggins era.
Yeah.
Remember Moggins?
The big push was like gnarly at the time, but that's good memories looking back at
the first one.
Yeah.
That first one was, the first one was like, that was definitely like a highlight.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Looking back at the time. No.
Yeah, it was just non-stop. Just like the way, which ones did you do? The first one?
First and the third, I think.
I did the third. Why didn't we both do the second?
I think we both were like,
we just
never
burnt
again.
out. Yeah, with, who was on that? Who was the special guest? Who was Matey, the American guy?
Oyola.
Yeah.
What a fucking great guest.
Yeah.
And you two weren't on it.
No.
We weren't invited. My performance wasn't up there the first year.
You got plenty of clips.
Yeah. Well, I think Kundal sort of stole the show.
Wait, so you're saying you weren't invited because of your performance?
Well, there's obviously there's a lot of people on Death.
Yeah, only, at the time the team was pretty stacked, and there's only so many people you can take in the van, and it got expensive. It cost a fucking lot of money. All the hotels, all the fuel. Yeah, like the first.
He'd rent like a 12-seater van, have like was it Pete drive it? About Pete, the old bloke, Pete. He was like, "There's
Pete.
Is it Pete? I can't remember his name. Is it Pete?
Pete.
But he would drive it, so we'd have that dude.
I drove the van on the first one.
Yeah, we got a
and
bit more
the second
professional.
One,
yeah,
and we had Ben was with us, Raemers, and because I drove my car.
You drove your car on the trip instead of getting in the van.
My car was known as the quiet car, so Percy would be in with me.
Yeah.
Ben would be in there.
Yeah,
and I can't remember who else was in the back. Boots maybe.
Okay, yeah, Boots was quiet. Boots is a good one.
And it was a pretty chill, just for us four.
Yeah, the van was carnage.
It was too much.
Yeah, it was stinking and like fighting and like and we decided to start in Scotland. So it started technically started at midnight. So we're like, let's just drive to Scotland. So we drive 10 hours, 11 hours. Which is like gnarly enough.
I don't remember it.
And then being like, all right, we're at the skate park, like film some tricks after driving for 10 hours. But that would kick it off. And then it was a week of that.
It was quite intense, like the big push, because you had to get shit done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you couldn't. There was no like
and
off
you had
moments.
Kate's was the overseeing.
But they were the best trips probably.
Yeah, they were good though. You know, stuff got done on them.
Well, we were kind of hyped. It was off of King of the Road, the first King of the Road. So we'd been watching that at the house, like every day. And then the big push came. So that's why we did it in that style. And we kind of put the rules on ourselves because we kind of wanted to do fun shit.
Yeah.
So we just did that for a week.
Well, Zorlak came up with the challenges, didn't it?
Yeah. So there's
There
all
was
loads of
like,
challenges and.
if you do these challenges,
Oh, do you remember the
you get a fry up in the morning or something.
what was the
like
big transition?
Sad
Herworth.
Burge.
Sad. Yeah.
Sad Burge
Yeah,
or
that was
something.
pretty mad.
Tell us how that went. Tell us your side of the story. Then.
Oh, what's
Wait,
this,
who else gave a side of?
What's this
So,
reservoir?
can you Google Sadburge? I think it's Sadburge.
Is it Sadburge?
SADBURGE.
Where's it
Reservoir.
located?
It's near Herworth. It's up in North
That's
East,
it,
near
Herworth.
Darlington.
Skatable.
It's
Yes.
a massive.
So a BMXer has done airs out the top of it now.
yeah. God, they roll
It's
in.
a huge. This thing.
Yeah, I
is
think
that
it's
it?
like 30 foot high.
It's all. That's
It's a
it.
pretty perfect 9 o'clock transition, like mellow.
It's fucking big.
What? And it's empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's still there. I mean, people will probably be shouting at us saying, "No, it's not fucking there anymore." But you can go over the stairs. So it's brick.
Okay, save
And
that for me, Fraser. I'm going to check that out.
It is really gnarly, tall.
It's
The coping
massive.
is like a big lip that goes out like that.
Yeah. One bit they'd knocked the slack. So someone had dropped in on it, hadn't they, just before, I think.
One of the locals,
Yeah.
can't remember his name now.
They'd like taken the brick out, so it was just a regular drop
Fuck,
in.
do we need to call Danny Callow to confirm this?
Oh my god, yeah, we could. Well, yeah, I haven't spoken to Danny in a long time.
Call Danny Callow, FaceTime him.
He
Have we
phoned me.
FaceTime
FaceTime.
people on this.
He phoned me
Like
not
that.
too long ago.
Should we call
FaceTime.
Dibs? Oh, let's call Dibs later.
But there was a local kid who dropped in a few weeks before we went.
Yeah, but he'd done all the hard work. He'd taken the brick out. They'd like scraped the moss off
Because
of
it
it.
was fucking awful.
Yeah. Well, this is from 1886, so it's like 100 years of shit.
So we went there.
Yes,
So-
we went there, all of us, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'll drop it on that, no problem." And then we're up. You get
One
up there.
person in particular.
Well, this gentleman, Lee Blackwell. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if he'd been claiming it the whole way in. Oh, there you go. There he is. That's it. He dropped in first.
So who is that? That's
Scott Penman.
Scott Penman.
Scott Penman.
Make sure you
Amazing.
save these pictures too so I can overlay them. That is
So
ridiculous.
yeah,
It
so
is
he'd
gnarly.
just done that, and we'd seen that, and then it was on Kate's radar. So we'll go check it out, and everyone thinking like, oh, it's just drop in, we'll go there. But yeah, it was fucking massive, and Blackwell being the kind of gnarly ramp vert guy, the vertical vampire of Essex. He was claiming
Big
it
up
hard.
Blackwell. I
Yeah, I
love
love
him.
Blackwell. Yeah, I don't want talking shit on Blackwell. I love him. But, yeah, so Kate, we got up there. I was there thinking I'd do it. And, you just stand there for ages. So, when you drop in a vert
It
ramp
was
for
really
the first
scary
time,
filming
it's
it.
terrifying. And
It
you've got
was-
no pads on, obviously.
yeah.
And then, you're just like, what the hell's going to happen? And then I think, Kate's did it first.
He put on some Richter soft
Yeah.
Richters and did it.
Yeah,
And
he
I
did
was
it
like,
first.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone was going to.
He did it, and the first one it shoots you out. So he did it, stepped off the first one, then did it, and then I was like, oh shit, he can do it. So I did it on his board, and the first one I flipped
You-
out,
it whipped
broke
you
my
out,
wrist.
didn't it?
Yeah, so I broke my scaphoid, and then so I did it. Yeah, it's kind of like everyone's like first try does your second try you do it, and then Blackwell couldn't do it. He couldn't physically
committed to it.
that
and he had a
thing. You have to
meltdown.
you have to turn that fear off. But yeah, he had a meltdown. He was like, oh. Take me to the train station. I'm going home.
that's it.
I'm going home. Fuck this.
He's like, yeah,
I'm
but if
"No,
anyone
it's all right,
leaves
mate." Yeah,
the
yeah,
tour,
yeah,
then you're like,
yeah.
it's void.
And then I think Nick came. Either like that evening or the next day. It was just
He came and smoothed over.
you're not
somehow.
leaving, mate, and it's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, Blackwell was in the van. Like,
Yeah.
take me to a station.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I wonder if he's dropped in on it yet.
I know.
But he's so gnarly like that. You just got. He could do it.
I was scared up at the top of it, looking over, filming people trying to drop it in. I was
That's
like,
probably. Well, we could find the
holy
footage.
shit! It'll be on the Big Push edit, won't
Is
it? Which is on YouTube's,
Yeah.
I'm sure. So
yeah.
well, apart from that and pictures of your shit in the toilet, I don't really think.
I
there's-
don't know, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember the big pushes in particular. Yeah, they were the most fun because that was just like a proper week in a van, all your mates, and just like going to skate spots, and all you had to literally do was skate all day, every day, and you'd be so knackered, like you'd just drive
Yeah, it's
everywhere,
pretty gnarly.
but you'd kind of just keep going.
Yeah.
Thanks to our good friends at Monster Energy
Yeah.
for supplying us with Monster Energy.
I
Remember we
remember-
just throwing it at the wall? We had so much of that shit. I'm just like, what do you do? It just
I remember Def being the first company in the UK to kind of be endorsed by it. That's what I remember.
Relentless and then Monster.
ramp.
Yeah,
and
Relentless was around. For
even
a
like Red Bull, like we'd get, I think Monster would send us so much, we'd have it stacked in the kitchen, and I'd just take a case of 12 up the shops. You'd either get change it for 6 beers or get the cash and then just go to the Chinese. So that kind of fed us and looked after
Yeah.
us for
Yeah.
a summer. It was great. That was your tokens. Anyone at the house, oh yeah, just take these to the shop and they'll give you the money.
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but that helped us.
Is there any deaf part filming that's your favourite filming for deaf videos? Because you had a part in Better Than Life and Escape from Boredom, right? One of them starts off with like a stop motion to a white
like the White
Stripe
Stripes rip-off.
and then I think there is another section with the White Stripes song as well. So you've used the White Stripes song twice.
I loved the White Stripes then. I went to see him a couple of times back then, which is the early 2000s. Yeah, I was a big White Stripes nerd.
Yeah.
Probably Better Than Life, no offense. Because that felt like a proper, like, not that it wasn't proper filming with you, but it was like I wasn't really working, and it almost became my like job.
Is that the
and
section
I'm like, I need
with
to go film. I have
golden
to film.
brown on it? Is that
No, that was Boots. Boots skated golden brown.
Well, what did you skate to in?
I can't remember if we can find it.
We'll
I skated to
find
the
it, let's forget it.
Libertines at some
What
point.
am I googling? Sorry.
Horsey Death Skateboards.
I think it was the Libertines then. I can't remember. Better Than Life was kind of like the first time when it was like, because I was working then. I had like a job making electric cables, but then after that, and I was getting a little bit of money from crew and Supra and a little bit of deaf money. So just like that kind of almost became a job, but in like a good way. So like that was all you had to do, was just like go film stuff, go on
Just go
trips.
skating.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I had a good few years of like that was it. And that's my house. That's where I lived for 4 years in the garage.
Do you
But
remember
the deaf house is amazing with the ramp and like you could just do anything you wanted to do. Do
Do you remember the?
you remember the premieres?
Yeah,
Smashing it up.
there was somebody's party there, and there was a bouncy castle in the garden.
Oh, I don't
Can't
remember
remember who it
that.
was.
Is this
Pete-
when you said someone was asleep in it?
Kunda was asleep, he passed out, and his
Yeah.
head was on the bouncy castle on the side. And every time someone jumped on it, he
yeah.
was getting like whiplash.
Yeah.
His
Sounds
head was
about
just
right.
going, I can't move my head that quick, so it'll fucking ruin my neck. But like, it was like,
Who did you say was throwing chairs over the house?
oh, that's Dibble at some house party in Sheffield and stuff. That's
Were you there at the house party we got kicked out of? Where was that? It was Rob Smith's pro party. And we'd gone to the house party and were you not there?
I can't remember.
But we'd got kicked like
In Sheffield?
I'd literally I think it was in Manchester.
I can't
It's
imagine.
Rob Smith's pro party. I think it's Rob Smith's pro party. But we basically had the party at the skate park at Central. Oh,
Yeah, I went there.
like there's someone's having a house party. Like go to the house party. And we walked ages to get there. And we literally walk in the door. Like we're here. And then all of a sudden there's like a fire extinguisher going off. And I think it's Kate's with the fire extinguisher everywhere.
Going,
like,
"Woo!"
and then just like everyone evacuated out. I was sick. Like you ever breathed in a fire extinguisher, like just threw up. And then it just got
Is that what it makes you
cleared
do?
out. And then like, I don't know if the police came, but it was just done. It's like, oh, that's the end of the house party. Nice one.
Fucking
And then
hell.
just, that was it.
Yeah, Kate's was like those house parties.
Yeah. It was basically, it wasn't
Kate's
really,
was a wild boy.
He was just going mental. all
well, it was
the
just,
time.
it wasn't just a,
But it was really interesting time, especially like during the early 2000s. Like if you were in a town and you were staying there, it was like, oh, the deaf team are here.
Yeah.
There's a house party at someone's
Oh,
house.
God,
It was
yeah.
like that. It was
There'd
just,
always be a house
it was
party.
something
And
always
always,
kicking
it'd
off, going
always
off
like
somewhere.
kick off and something you get smashed and people would get
Yeah.
pissed off. But like it'd always happen. Like
Yeah.
people like wanted it and then they got it and they were like, oh, I don't like this anymore.
I think it was too much for them to like when it actually happened. It was like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Yeah.
they're here.
It's horrible.
I mean, I just sort of would sit in the corner and be scared of the bigger boys. Just going
Yeah,
mental.
there's
I'd be
always
like, well, I've gotta
someone.
drive these
There's
guys
always
around.
someone naked or trousers down or like something getting smashed, extinguishers going off.
Yeah,
It's not that enjoyable. If it's your own house, everyone else having the best time.
yeah. I just think it was pretty, uncomfortable looking back at it. But
Yeah, looking back, it's not great.
it was.
But
kind
it's
of
like,
funny
yeah,
time.
it's like I'm having a house party. Everyone come. It's like,
It's
what?
like, well, you're asking.
Yeah,
for trouble.
you want all
Like,
these degenerates to come to your house.
Yeah. So during your time with Death, you were traveling to Santa Cruz a lot.
Yeah. Santa Cruz at the start, and then Costa Mesa a
Costa
lot.
Mesa.
Yeah.
And
Costa
then-
Mesa.
When did it come about leaving to ride for Send Help, and what was going on?
And how long had you been on death for at that point?
Probably.
you say earlier, 6 years?
Yeah, probably about 6 years, I think.
How
That
soon
would
did
have
you go pro, being on death?
probably like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I
Yeah.
think I was only pro for like a couple years.
2 years,
Yeah. So I was, it was after I'd moved out of the deaf house and then was kind of just like wasn't really living anywhere and just traveling. So I was in Costa Mesa a lot, hanging out with Todd Bratrud. Kyle was there, Kyle Green. And we would just be there. And he was doing Teenage Runaway, the Wheel Company.
And you were on that,
Yeah,
weren't you?
yeah, I was riding for that.
Chris Averton rode for that as well. Abby.
Yeah, and Raemers was on it. I think Appleyard was on it, maybe. I can't remember.
He was on Autobahn, wasn't he?
Was he on Autobahn?
I thought it was Autobahn.
Yeah, because Appleyard was always over Todd's place, so he didn't live too far. And I think it was like a safe. Yeah, it was just like a safe weed smoking place in the morning. So he'd just turn up, and then they'd smoke weed, and then go do their business. But yeah, it was Teenage Runaway. So we were doing like kind of Teenage Runaway things when we were out there. Raemers was there a lot in Costa Mesa because of the Volcom House. Mm-hmm. So you remember they had the Volcom House, they had the camp ramp, and the ramp in the tree. So that was like 2 blocks away. Yeah, so that would have been 2010-ish. Skating for Teenage Runaway. And then, so Todd is a good friend of mine, is still a good friend of mine. He was starting his own company, which was the High Five. Yeah. So I was kind of around him when it was all happening. Yeah, it was the High Five first. That's why I have the High Five. So he was starting it, and I think it was only supposed to be like Brian Heck, Steve Fowler, someone else. It was going to be small, and it was going to be like kept as like a small kind of like, like a little kind of tiny core brand. Yeah, basically. And then, like I was skating for Death, and I wasn't unhappy. Like everything was great, and yeah, there was no complaints, like nothing was wrong, but like kind of like the thought of trying something new was kind of appealing. So I was kind of umming and ahhing about it for a bit.
Did he say to you?
No, he never said it. I said it to him. Oh right. Because we were just like I was there. I'd go for like 2 months at a time, so I'd be there and see how it was. Like he would show me graphics and like this is happening. We're going to do this and this and this. Yeah. And I knew it was basically like a lot of the Teenage Runaway Wheels guys, so like Brian, don't know if you know Brian Heck from Consolidated, Fowler, do you know Fowler? Steve Fowler, he skated for, I think he skated for like Black Label. He was like a Corey Duffel era, gnarly, super tight jeans, like he did gnarly, like Google him, Steve Fowler, he was so gnarly. He was vegan. How do you
spell the last name?
Fausser.
Steve Fowler.
FAU, yeah, so gnarly, straight edge vegan. Really nice guy. Like I still see him now. He's into bikes, but he was of that Corey Duffel,
Corey Duffel vibes.
But really, really gnarly. But he always had like a bad run of. I think like he got a bad reputation, or people didn't like him. Like probably Corey Duffel didn't like him, or whoever. So he just had a bad reputation. So he didn't really get picked up on many sponsors. He always had a rough ride. But he was really good friends with Todd. I think he's from Iowa, like Sam McGuire really well. Sam McGuire from Etnies. And so he was going to skate for it. But yeah, just talking to Todd, I just kind of the idea of it just sounded like exciting to try something new. And I was spending so much time there and like traveling.
Kind of made sense.
Yeah, and we'd just do trips for the hell of it. We'd do like Teenage Runaway trips. It'd be like Foz, me, him, and Foz and Sam McGuire would go to like, let's go to Utah. It's like we'd just drive everywhere. Yeah. Drive to Utah, drive to Vegas, spend a week there. So it's just kind of what I was doing anyway, and it just sort of made sense. And it was, I felt terrible for Zorla. Like,
how was the call?
It was awkward. It was terrible. Yeah, it was pretty shit. It took a
Zorla
while.
Really looks at everyone on Death as like a solid family unit. Yeah. And when someone leaves, I know it.
Yeah. And I felt really, really bad. And I had to it took a couple of days to make the call. So I remember going to like a 7-Eleven payphone, because this was like 2010, loads of quarters, and then just like, all right, and then just did it, and it was and he like would and it was it's obviously super awkward, but he respected it. And I think he said, he was like, oh, if you ever change your mind or if you ever want to come back, like, we're cool. But like it was but it was like
greatest dude in UK.
He's the best dude. Yeah. So it was probably kind of selfish, but then I just wanted to try something different. And like
I think an opportunity like that to be somebody from Saffron Walden to go out to Costa Mesa and did they say you'd be pro straight away? Or
no, it was never that. It was it wasn't like I was kind of chasing like the American
but it was
pro
just
dream.
Like you were in that situation and.
Yeah, I don't think I even got aboard for like the first year, if not longer. Yeah. So it was all so early, but like basically like I kind of wanted to get on, and then Steve Nesser, good friend of Todd's, he wanted to get on, and then Randy Placer. Yeah. Randy, he was from that 1 in a Million, the Thrasher thing that they did. Randy's like nicest dude, so fucking good.
Did you have to come and go every 3 months, or was you able to stay over there on like an athlete's
I was just coming and going, and like being young and not really thinking about it. Like,
did you ever get stopped?
A couple times. The worst time was in Minnesota, so I was going out there to go. No, it was Minneapolis. So because Todd ended up being in, I can't remember where it was, but basically I went to Minneapolis, and they were like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, I'm just going to go skateboarding. They're like, "Oh, what do you do for a job?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a professional skateboarder." So they're like, "Oh, how much do you get paid? Are you getting paid to be here?" And then it's all the questions, and then I got taken to the room, and then like this they bring out this like massive fat book, and they're going through the book and trying to like look at all the rules and like what you can and can't do, and then it kind of like boiled down to like, how much do you earn a year? And I told them from like skateboarding, and they just pretty much laughed me out at the place. They're just like, just go.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. So, but yeah, that's the worst it got. But yeah, when you're young, you don't even think like that it matters. But yeah, like I said, like at one point I was there for 2 months, came back for 1 week, and went back for 2 months, and it was fine. But now I
guess it's different times
out.
now, isn't it? Like, and also like say you were younger then, and it was just like
they just don't really see it. Yeah, but now it's always a lot of questions, and I've been like interrogated now recently because they always want to know what you're up to, which is weird. But
I guess they just got to keep an eye.
I guess it's their job.
Yeah, that's it. When did the high five turn into Send Help, and what was going on, and how did that happen?
So basically the high five was the high five, I think, for like the first 18 months or like 2 years. So it was done through a distribution company whose name I forget, which was based in Costa Mesa. So they took it on. They were doing Teenage Runaway as well. So they took it on for a bit. And I guess because they were probably thinking it was going to be small to start with, and then it kind of kicked off really big with Nessa and Randy, and so it was a lot of people, a lot of boards going out, and there's kind of like a bit of friction with it all. So what was happening, one of the last times I was in Costa Mesa, we were kind of in the early stages of going to NHS, so that the high five was going to go to NHS. So we were talking to, again, I'm terrible with names. I forget his names, but the guy at NHS who was the guy that kind of brought Creature back and made Creature cool. I think it's Jamie. So we went to NHS in Santa Cruz. We met with them on like a team trip, went to Santa Cruz, like, oh yeah, we're going to do this and this and this. Basically queuing it up to be like a Creature. Yeah. So we went there and like, it was fucking amazing. And we rented a place, like a hotel right on the beach. And it's like, oh my God, like this is going to all kick off. Went home and then it all fell through. So basically they
came back.
They got scared because there was a clothing company called trademarked as the High Five, and I think it was like a American sports company clothing that makes clothing for schools, right? And they got scared of like the branding and blah blah blah. So then we'd left the one distribution to go to the NHS, and then that fell through, and then it was like no distribution, and then it all kind of like sort of went tits up. And then eventually became Send Help. So yeah, that's how that happened.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was what happened with it. I'd heard that the high five, there was something to do with the name. Yeah, it was the name. Yeah, trademark, and so it became Send Help. So Send Help was kind of like a thing that Todd was running. So he was doing. I think he did a couple of shoes for Nike, and kind of had the Send Help logos on it. That logo. So it was kind of like a natural thing anyway. And then it was like I can't remember, but it wasn't like it was like harsh. It was like kind of a soft thing. It was like just like I think it was like almost like a rebirth of that. But that then how many boards did you have out on Send Help?
I think like only 3 boards or 4 boards, not many.
How many were getting made when you?
I have no idea.
It'd be really interesting to know that, like going.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't even like at that point. Not that I wasn't bothered. I was just kind of like, whatever.
This is what it is.
Yeah, basically. But then, so I think that there was a point of like no distribution company. Todd was doing it all off his own back. And then it was just like, and then there was a team. And then, I don't know, like I guess it got kind of like, it gets hard. You're paying, certain people are getting paid, what can happen quickly. So it starts, it's all fun and games at first. Like, let's do a skateboard company, but then you're paying salaries or wages. Yeah. And then, it all adds up quick.
Little bits of money coming out in all different avenues.
And I was living, so that was, I ended up, it's probably like, I can't remember when I had knee surgery, but I ended up, I was back here more, so I started going there less, and then I kind of had to get a job. So I started working with Hemming at Motel 6. Yeah. So I was working in Harlow. So I started, Hemming's the best. So he had like a shoe empire, like not accidentally. Obviously, he's a very smart man, but yeah, he was like selling like thousands of shoes on eBay a month at one point. I guess before eBay got too big and expensive, and then it's before Google charged you to advertise on Google. So he had this like golden 5 years. He was killing it. So me, him, and Nicolson had this. He had this huge warehouse in Harlow.
I remember going there, and it was
It
just
was
like, holy
insane.
shit.
He was doing like there was
He was basically buying everyone's clothes out,
but
samples.
samples. So we'd get the samples from everyone, and we'd like match up the pairs, and he was killing
a lot
it.
of Circa shoes. I remember.
Yeah, everything. Circa, DVS, Etnies, America. Yeah, he had Nike for a bit, and then we just like they got upset with him selling on eBay because Hemming from Harlow, like he's Harlow, he's a Harlow bloke, he's a sort of wheeler dealer, and they're like, don't do this, don't sell on eBay. He's like, fuck that, I'm selling. And they sent like a dossier of like screen grabs of like evidence, and he's just like,
fuck that,
see ya.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that. Yeah, I worked for him for like a couple of years, 2-3 years. So I was in the office doing all the office stuff, photos and all that. Nicolson was the picker and packer, doing Nicolson stuff. You should get Nicolson on this. He'd be.
Fuck, I'd love to. There's so much to talk about with Nicolson. It's just whether or not he'd want to do.
Yeah, but it was great because I was getting to spend a lot of time with him and watching him in action because he's like the best, smartest, like he's so good at skating. Like I love him to bits. But just like he'd know, I'd text him like, you have 100 pairs of shoes to pick and pack, and he's like, all right, I need to be there at 11, I'll see you at 11, and then he'll turn up at 2, and then he'll be like stressed, running, pick and packing, like freaking out, like just like sweating, and like that would be every single day, like stressing himself out to do it. And that was the way Nicolson would do things. That's how he'd handle business.
Not very good with times.
Just I don't know what it was, but that was a good few years of that. And then eBay changed, Google changed, everyone changed their shit. We got in trouble. Surf Dome kicked off at us for stealing their photos. Is Surf Dome still going? We don't talk about Surf Dome.
Don't think it's going anymore.
Isn't it?
No.
Fuckers, good. We'd nick a few of their photos. They'd get pissed.
We got offered a lot of their stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that was 18 months ago, wasn't it?
I don't know.
A lot of people don't even know what Surf Dome was.
Yeah, they were killing. They seemed like they covered on top of it. Like they had a lot of shit. I guess they had too much shit. It seems like. But we'd steal their photos. We'd just be like, I'm not gonna like take 1,000 photos, just like copy and paste.
Yeah.
Their photos.
Did they get irate about it?
They got really pissed. They got really mad and then like called us out and like. Yeah, so we stopped doing that.
I mean, that stuff happens all the time.
And what's the point? It's just a picture of a fucking Etnies Murano or whatever it is, just in a white background. Like, what does it really matter?
I guess their argument is that they pay someone to come in and they got a studio for it and stuff like that. But
Oh, no, it's fair dues.
That is.
But we were just like, because, none of us like I didn't go to university or college. None of us did. We're just like winging it. Basically just winging it the whole way.
I used to steal roller snakes images.
Did you?
When I worked at Slugger.
We probably stole roller snakes images, I'm sure.
Put them on a white background.
Yeah. I think I'd just Google like whatever model, colour, and I'd find anywhere I can get it from. It'd be fine. Sorry if I stole your images. Roller snakes.
Okay. So how long between Send Help coming to an end?
Yep.
Yeah, what happened with that?
What happened with that? And then how long was it before you... Because it must have been a while before you got back onto Death.
I started distributing it here. So when I was... when I was still with Hemming... So you had this massive warehouse. So I was still involved. And the distribution thing was a problem. So I was like, I'll just do it. So I figured out, I got boards. Because I was trying to bring boards in. And that's like super expensive. So I was getting boards made at HLC. Yeah. Doing boards there. So I did that for like a couple years. And then I ended up doing Science skateboards for a little bit.
I remember Science.
Yeah. They
Still
were cool.
Kind of going in a way.
I think he moved to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think he was destined to be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he went there and then just stayed there. So that became, I think it's still going.
SPT,
I think
Sam Taylor was on it for a while.
Yeah, there's Joe Seville, Josh Cox.
Yeah.
They had a video out. We did a premiere at House of Vans. Should probably talk about House of Vans at some point.
Yeah,
we'll be good.
Yeah, it's
but we did that was... Chris was his name. Yeah, Chris, he was a nice guy. But it was hard to get him to like focus on stuff. Like the video, I think he was making the video for years and it was taking years. And I was like, this is your premiere date, do the
Get
video.
it done before
and
then.
he was an hour late, still editing the video on the night of the video, and it still wasn't right, but he got it out. But yeah, I did that. What else did I do? I did witchcraft for a bit as well. I took on witchcraft. So I knew Alex Irvine and
Big
French.
up Alex Irvine.
Yeah, he's the best also. So I was doing that for a bit, and it was just, it was good to do it and still be in skateboarding, but it's hard work, as you guys know. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of effort for like...
Minimum
output. And then like the science guy would be annoyed at certain things, and I'm like, like telling me I'm doing it wrong. I'm like, maybe you should like do some stuff and like post some Instagram stuff and like build.
Yeah.
So eventually it just kind of got too much, and then I started working at House of Vans. So I started there.
How did you get that? Was it word of mouth?
That was through Rob Smith. Yeah. So basically, I can't remember. I'd seen Rob.
Big up Rob Smith.
Yeah, big up Rob Smith. I think basically
Big up Rob Smith.
He'd text me. I can't remember. It was like almost Halloween, and he'd text me, and he was randomly. I hadn't spoken to him in ages because obviously I wasn't on Deaf then. So yeah, he'd text me, and he was like, "Oh, we're doing this Halloween competition. Do you want to come and judge it, like in the bowl?" So yeah, I'll come. So went there, saw him, just hung out with him.
That bowl was no joke as well.
That thing was gnarly.
It was actually a legit.
It's horrible.
I never actually went there, but didn't have a really.
You never went there?
No.
Yeah, because Halford used to go there and like skate the roof.
Ronnie Sandoval did the best thing, which was, if you find that Ronnie Sandoval House of Vans, he did an invert on that bit with the doorway, and his board is on the wall, on the ceiling, because it's like it's slightly angled. But yeah, it was so gnarly. It was deep and tight and horrible. Yeah. So basically, Robert hit me up to judge, just like basically like, I'll come do this. So yeah, I did that, judge this competition. I was like, oh, I wasn't working. I think I'd left. I think the work was getting slower and slower with Hemming at Motel 6. So then, so I was like, oh, if anything else comes up, let me know. And then like a couple months later, it was like, oh, the 50th anniversary of Vans is coming up. Yeah. Do you fancy a bit of work? So then I did that, and then it kind of just like snowballed. So basically, I started working there, like managing the skate park. So I was the dude that just like sat there, like you got your wristbands on, leave your beers outside, like that kind of shit for a little while. So
yeah, I never went there, but I mean,
I can't believe you never went there.
No.
It was great. It was an amazing space
for the Into the Void.
Oh yeah, that was a good night.
Into the Void prom with Mike and Straubs, and that's when I first met. That's when I first met Zarosh, and Richie Jackson was begging for drugs off me.
That was probably my...
I can't put that in.
And I was like, bro, you're talking to the wrong person. I was doing pretty well at that time. But Zarosh was the absolute best.
Yeah.
That's what I got then, motherfucker. Got the OG Zarosh,
he's a good lad.
I do love a bit of Zarosh.
Yeah. So how long were you at House of Vans?
3 years. So I started just being like a skate park kind of guy, working weekends. It was kind of shit in that sense, having to work weekends. But then I slowly kind of made it up to the office. There was like the office upstairs where all the office people were. And then I started trying to plan stuff. So the first thing I did, we showed it because they had the cinema, this big like 200-seater cinema. So I showed this like motorcycle film. It's called 21 Days Under the Sky.
Right.
It's like a full length, lovely, like they just basically, these dudes ride East Coast to West Coast on these old choppers.
Yeah.
So I showed that, basically planned it, invited a few people. And then from that, these people came, this one person, Vince Summers, good friend of mine. He was like, this, like never been there. And like, oh my God, this space is amazing. Like we should do something here. We should do a bike show. And then from that, we kind of, he got a hold of these two people, Dean Mikatish, who does Dice Magazine, and Reno, who does the Great Frog, this jewelry company.
Yeah.
So then they came, checked it out. We had this meeting there, and then we're like, let's do a bike show. So we did this bike show called Assembly, which was like a pretty, I guess it was a pretty popular bike show because we brought a bunch of people from the States. We had like Max Schaff came and
legend.
All these sort of like big legendary bike dudes came. They shipped the bikes in. We had like all the bikes. We come in and you've got
it must be expensive.
It was expensive, yeah. It was, but you had like Vans budget. So it kind of, so I was like figuring out how an event works. And I was like, oh, we'll just do this, bring the bikes, pay for hotels, bring people in, do all the other fun stuff. There you go. And then, so we brought in like 8 bikes from the States. That's Jeremiah. And then this is on the Sunday after the show. I had to lead everyone out of London, like find a petrol station in London with like 20 bikes, and I'm clueless. But yeah, it's a good show. But yeah, it was for anyone that went, it was free to get in. Best bikes, best dudes, like amazing. But yeah, it was a good show.
When did you first start getting into the bike thing? I remember you driving a moped around.
I had the moped. I got a moped when, I think within the first year of being in Harrow, where I was working at this cable making place. Someone was like, "Oh, like so and so selling a moped for 500 quid." I was like, "All right, yeah." So I bought a moped, did my CBT, which is like the basic training.
Yeah.
So then just had a moped, and then I was like, I just rode it to work, and I'd ride it to like Harlow or to my mum's house.
Yeah.
Like a little 100cc, goes like 50 miles an hour.
How long did it take to get from Harrow to Saffron Walden on that?
Fucking hell, about 2.5 hours.
Fuck
the
that.
first time I tried it, because obviously there's like pre-phones and sat nav.
Yeah.
I just wrote the directions and like sellotaped it to my tank, and then it pissed it down, and I made it as far as Watford, and it was like so gnarly, and I'm in Watford, and all my map, my like directions is fucked, so I just turned around. That's my first attempt. But yeah, I had that for like 4 years, so just mopeding around for 4 years. Death stickers on it.
Yeah.
I had like a front cover of it was like that little weird zine for a while. I don't know what it was called, Reaver or something, like ollieing over it. The shitty moped with crappy stickers. So yeah, I had that for a bit, and then I was traveling a bunch, and then I saw people in Costa Mesa that had bikes, and then I kind of like, oh, I like the look of that, and then I end up getting like another little, like one with gears, and then it kind of just like sort of snow. You get a bike and you start looking at like the big boy bikes.
Yeah.
You kind of work your way up. So yeah, so
Well,
kind of
have
like,
you got a bike now?
yeah, I've got an old.
What is it? I know nothing about bikes.
It's a 1969 Harley Davidson.
Nice.
So it's like an old.
Is that good?
It's a pretty good bike.
It's just an old. I had that one.
It's a
That was my old-
Kickstarter on it, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's Kickstart only. So that was an old bike of mine. It's a Sportster, 1994 Sportster. So everything kind of ties in to sort of, there's all these little things like the little Essex. But yeah, that was my first Harley. I've had a few Harleys since.
So, time at House of Vans, you started organising events.
Yep.
And then what? How did that? Because obviously you're now. What's your job role now at Dice?
I'm global marketing director of Dice Magazine.
Boy, done good. From Walden to that.
I know, but it's just a title. It's just like there's only two of us really like full time, and then there's this guy Dan Sheridan who does all the artwork. So yeah, that's.
But how did House of Vans turn into this?
So that well, no, I had a 2-year gap after House of Vans. I got a proper job working for this agency. So after the second bike show we did, this guy came, and I was setting up. After the show, we did like a gallery, and there's like all the pictures and a few bikes. So I'm literally like setting up the gallery. I was shirtless and like just all fucked and sweaty. And this guy had missed it, and he's like, "Can I come in?" So I was like, "Yeah, come and have a look." And he worked for this agency. So he was basically like, "Oh, I work for this agency, and we do stuff with Harley Davidson globally." So I met him and spoke to him, and then ended up working for this agency for 2 years.
Nice.
Which is like, I don't know, a proper like corporate job. It was pretty shit. From like House of Vans was like the funnest.
Yeah.
You could kind of get away with murder. Really, like, like the death, like the Into the Void party was like the high. That was probably like the top. Like that was where it kind of ended of like the shit we could get away with. Putting a mini ramp in the thing in front of the stage, and like, they'd just, it was very well run, but they're just like, here's loads of money. Like, what do you want to do? And we're like, we'll just build a ramp. We'll do this. We'll put a cinema screen in the other skate park and do it like that. Like, it was kind of like whatever you wanted to do.
It was a wild prem though. That's the one where you got welcomed back.
Yeah.
So how long was it between, just to go on a sidetrack between
Welcome back
Send
to
Help to being welcomed back to death?
Gee,
And
probably...
also, I'm interested. That conversation was all like, how did it all kind of?
The coming back conversation. I think we'd already booked in the premiere. I think I can't remember. He'd know better than me. I think so we were like talking more, and we were like kind of organising it. Yeah. And then I just said to him, like, stuff with Send Help had kind of slowed right down. I think I was probably even skating death boards anyway. And it kind of slowly happened. And I was like, oh, what about, what if we do this? What about that idea? Oh, there we go. You said that. You said that. But yeah, it kind of, and back then, like, what was it, 5 years ago, which is pretty mad. And I felt like I was skating quite a lot. So I was like at this, basically at a skate park 5 days a week. So I was skating quite a lot.
6 years ago, 2018.
It'd be 6 years this December.
Yeah.
Jesus. So I was like, I'm still skating. Like we were doing a lot of stuff with the Rugged Raw guys like Jake and Josh, and so I felt
Jake
quite productive. I was
Martinelli.
like, all right, I'm ready for it. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Back on track.
So I asked Nick, and then Nick went off and spoke to whoever the team, and
Probably Kate's.
so I had to wait.
When it's the team, it's just Kate's, isn't it?
I don't know how much she listens to Kate's about that. I mean, obviously, Kate's was when Kate's moved to Margate, it changed that dynamic. Having him around all the time. I think he spoke to the team just to see if it was all right. I don't know if he like literally asked everyone, and it was like a vote. God knows. But yeah, I ended up just before the premiere getting back on. So it's kind of like it was a secret.
So you filmed a couple of bangers with Martinelli.
Yeah, we were just we had a few little things, but yeah, we'd just be out like at least once a weekend. He would be at that time when he was doing all the rugged raw stuff. He'd be out like 2 days, like every single weekend evenings. He was on it, and it was like Josh Cox, like Josh Cox is a very productive. You should get Josh Cox on. He's
shout out Josh Cox, legalize beer.
He's just
Oh, that's him.
That's him.
Right,
so good.
okay.
He's incredibly productive. So yeah, Josh kind of like there's like a crew of dudes that just skate, and we were doing those Burrows videos, the sidewalk Burrows videos. So we were just kind of like on it. It was a nice time. Early 30s.
You got back on. This is all that made the call. He's like, I've spoken to the team.
Yeah, he told me.
And they say,
I got the facts. I got the facts, and I was back on, and then it all happened. But yeah, that premiere was probably like the
busiest promo I've ever been to.
It was mental. Yeah, it was
insane.
So busy.
It was insane.
And having we had like the gallery show.
With all Kate's
Kate's boards. Chris Johnson Chris Johnson did a lot.
Big up CJ.
CJ.
Love
CJ. But yeah, that show was good. But yeah, I think after that was kind of like the absolute high, and then it kind of like slowly dipped off after that.
Was there something around that time of you getting real bad vertigo?
No, that was recently. That was last year.
What went on with that?
That was, I literally woke up, it would have been August last year.
Yeah.
So this time of year, what is now June, like I have a lot of events, like bike events, and
so
we do our own event. Yeah, I'm flying a lot and like not like looking after myself, drinking enough water or resting. So yeah, I just woke up one morning and just like in bed, and like almost my eyes were going the opposite way, and I sit up and it's just like spinning, and I just like puke on the floor. And then I was in bed for 4 days. I couldn't get out of bed without being sick. So yeah, 4 solid days, and then slowly I could like walk around, but just like dizzy. So yeah, I just got vertigo basically. It's but they don't really know what it is or what causes it. You just kind of have it, and then I had it about 2 weeks. I was just completely fucked, and then all right for 6 weeks. Slowly got better, and then 6 weeks later I had it again. Just like woke up, just like completely fucked.
Mental, isn't it?
Yeah, and they don't know. I was in the hospital yesterday and seeing these specialists, like proper specialists, and they're like, they still don't know. They're just like, oh, you've got better, but we don't know what it is. It could be migraines, it could be this. So God knows. But it's really shit. But I've never like, oh, there you go, vertigo, Google. I don't think I've fully recovered. Like I feel like there's still nothing. There's something that's not 100%.
It says the most common reason for it is inner ear problems.
Yeah, you get it. You get these
potential.
You get these
which
little
are very scary sounding.
These little crystals in your ear canal. So basically, you have like an ear canal fluid, and it works like a spirit level.
Yeah.
So it knows where you are, and these little crystals get in it, and it kind of distorts. So your brain doesn't know if it's up or down or left or right.
That just gives you extreme nausea.
You just get up and you just like, and I'll be like, I need a piss, and I'm like, all right, okay, and I'll get up, and I'll puke, and then I'll just go to piss, and then get back into bed and just lie on my side.
Oh no!
I was just watching
how was that being around you then, because obviously you've got Hux who was just over 4.
He would have been like, it would have been a year ago, so two and a half.
How was it at home like?
It was shit because he obviously doesn't understand, and I'm just in bed just puking up, and just like he's like wants to play, and I'm just like watching like I can't remember what I was watching, like The Office, and like just binging crap. But I felt best on one side, so I'd just be on my side. You can't really eat, you can't really do anything. You just lie there and just wait, basically.
Have you had your ears and stuff checked?
Yeah. No, I went to this, like, I got really lucky. A friend of mine, Vicky, she works in King's Cross at Queen's Hospital. And then, she kind of got me to be seen by a specialist. And then he was like,
MRI scans.
Yeah, I did MRI. And then he was like, oh, there's this guy at Diego's, his name. He's like, oh, I'm going to refer you to this guy, Diego. Like, you might be lucky in a few months, you might be able to see him. Like, he's like, wherever you are, like, just see him. And then he was like, oh, he's in the building. Like, let me see if I can get you to see him. And then I saw him on that day. So I got really lucky. And then I got all these tests. Like yesterday, like I was wearing these you put these glasses on with these cameras and they do all these tests and they check, like, it's like your reaction to head movements. It's boring. But yeah, it's how fast your brain adjusts to this movement. But it's all like.
No, I was only asking because I like.
You had your issues,
would it be like a year and a half? No, roughly.
Probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I'd had earache for ages, for like a long time. Turns out, like, when I was a toddler, I'd put something in my ear and rip my eardrum.
No.
And it never healed. And from like the age of 17 to 29, every winter it'd get really bad.
Yeah.
To where like it felt like maybe not as bad as yours where I was being sick, but I'd be standing there and it would be like I was slightly pissed.
Oh yeah.
And everything was and eventually got worse and worse and worse. And I'd skate and I'd
fucking horrible.
I'd skate and I'd drop in and all my weight would just go whoa.
Oh yeah.
To one side. Went to doctors for years, they were just like perforated eardrum, put some eardrops in and out. And I was saying to them, when I put the eardrops in, I can feel it.
What, like
going
dripping
down my neck.
Oh.
So when I moved home from working at Slugger in Sheffield, I went to just a random walk-in centre because my doctor's wasn't free, and it was just this guy I'd never met. He was like, "You should probably get an MRI scan."
Yeah.
And it never came to mind because you kind of trust the doctor's word a bit.
Course,
from the age of 17 to like 29, it got worse towards the end. But then I had an MRI and I had like a tumour here and like here.
Yeah.
No, it was like here. They said it was like a cyst, and then every time I went to the hospital it would change.
Yeah.
And it would get.
They just didn't know.
They didn't know what it was, and then eventually they were like, "We can just go in your ear and get it out." Yeah. And then I think a week or two before I went into the hospital, they were like, "We're gonna have to cut the side of your head open." So I've got a scar around the back.
Whoa.
And they pulled the ear out, and they took this.
They literally pulled your ear.
Like they flop it over your face.
Whoa.
And like they took a load of stuff out here, and they said it was dotted round, but it was benign. It was like it wasn't growing.
Whoa.
And that's why I've always sounded nasally. Yeah. Because this ear, it's just like you're talking.
Oh, you can't.
It's like you're covering your mouth in that ear. Oh, so when we were sorting out the set, I was like, I have to sit on this side.
Because that's your good ear. And good ear.
And when me and Toby are talking, because he's deaf as fuck as well, we're just like, hey.
Fuck. Hey. I've just got new hearing aids. I've been on hearing aids for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
But you've not worn them for a long time.
Yeah, because they're really uncomfortable.
Even modern ones are. I would have assumed the modern ones would be like lovely.
It was your old ones.
Well, so I've had. This is fucking boring shit. But big up all the hearing aid wearers. So like,
because someone might be listening to this, be like, I have an ear issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to be listening.
From a whole life.
Whoa!
I didn't hear that. Ironically,
he said he doesn't know how they're going to be listening to it if they've got hearing issues.
But I've had the hearing aids. You can get the little grommet ones which go right inside your ears, but then it feels like you're underwater all the time because it blocks out the sound.
Oh, okay.
So, and then you have the other ones which go right inside your ear, but they tickle your ear. These new ones are the same. They go in your ear. But they do tickle sometimes. But these ones are good.
So you can barely see it. It's like a little. Oh, it's clear. Oh, geez.
He's got Bluetooth on it, so when you call him.
So these ones, if you call me, I'm talking to you like
just like normal.
And it works. I can listen to podcasts. I was in the garden the other day at the end, staring at the fence.
That in your ear a little bit more. That's
and I'm listening to podcasts at the end of the garden. It's like
no one knows.
People think I'm mad.
But you can barely see it, like from straight on.
I'm not bothered about people seeing.
No, but you'd never. Yeah, okay.
It's the comfort because having something in your ear, it does put you off. But these are good because it's Bluetooth. So
when I had that surgery, they obviously had to compact it with like gel and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when he took it out, it was like pulling the tissue out, and it was the best. You know when you clean your ears and it's just a good feeling. He was doing it, and I was like, oh god.
And then was it just instantly?
It was instant relief.
Yeah.
And then I woke up the next day. I've got the pictures as well. I'm not going to put them on the screen for this, but like my face had swollen up. So I went to A&E, and they were like, we don't see anything. And I was like, okay.
You don't see my face.
I went to bed, woke up in the morning, had a shower. and it was like one of my first showers since the operation.
Yeah.
And I put all of that heat on my head,
Yeah.
and it just ripped through the scar.
No.
And I bled out everywhere. And what is it, like an aneurysm? Is that what they're called? When it's like
You bled out?
like a sack of blood, but it had all gone in my face.
Jesus Christ.
And then for the next couple of months, I'd be going to the hospital for checkups, and they just lay you on the side, and they find the channel that they put in there to let all this shit out.
Yeah.
And the guy was just getting his palm
Yeah.
and just rubbing it across, and you can hear,
And it'll come out.
and you can hear like,
gnarly, isn't it?
you can hear like,
Popping down, especially
like oh
you know,
yeah,
like
you
when
hear like
stuff's
all
near
the
your
air
ear.
bubble,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it's really, and then sometimes.
But
they'll
wait,
have, like,
where's that draining to? Down.
it just comes
comes
out
out.
the back of your scar. So then,
Like a massive spot.
and then sometimes they'd have like, you know,
What a job.
how like you can get those sticks with like the stone on it that people
Yeah.
rub on their face.
Oh,
They'd-
yeah.
They'd do that as well, and you
Just a
just
bit
hear,
more,
you just
like
hear,
they're milking you.
you'd hear all this
God.
coming out. So that ear now is kind of, I think I've probably got like 10 years left, and that's going to be gone.
What? It's going to no hearing.
Just, yeah, because it's bad at the minute.
Yeah.
It is bad. But at
Yeah, you
least-
just noticed.
So it didn't actually fix it.
well, they got a tumour out of me.
That's always
So-
good.
I mean,
Getting the tumour
yeah.
out.
No, but every winter it would like leak,
Yeah.
bleed, greens.
But where's it? What into you or out?
Because
this
I didn't
cut?
have an eardrum
Ah.
for years, over 10 years, stuff was getting in. So when
Yeah.
I'd go to sleep,
Yeah.
because
it
it
all
was
just builds up and cakes in, I guess.
because
doesn't
if
it?
I'm watching TV laying down, I have to be this side to get the hearing. If I'm laying here,
Ears are shit.
I have to like fold my pillow.
Ears have
and have
taken
my
us all
ear.
out.
Well,
Yeah.
you should get some hearing aids because the other good thing about because I have to have subtitles on everything.
Oh yeah, I do that anyway.
Like,
Yeah, I
love
do. It's
it.
like a
yeah,
bit
everyone,
kink,
like
innit?
everyone does now. Yeah.
Like,
You can
oh,
do this thing
subtitle.
because it works with your phone. You can put your phone by the TV,
Yeah.
and then it
Oh,
boosts it straight into your ears,
Okay.
which is really good.
Smart, mate.
You've
This
been
is
watching-
good
It's kind of-
tips.
it's kind
These are
of
good
funny how
tips.
when you have to watch TV, you have to call. You have to
Call
make a call
yourself.
and put your phone next
Look,
to the TV.
You know,
We're just surviving.
Chris Ray, the filmer.
Yep.
He wears hearing aids, and all his kids do as well. I think there's probably more people out there that need hearing aids that just think there's stigma around it. Like I don't give a fuck, but I mean, it is.
It's nice to hear.
It's kind of
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes, yeah.
I think
But
that
like this is why sometimes people, I think, over the years have thought I've been really rude because I
Oh,
can't
you
hear what
can't
they're
hear
saying.
them. Yeah.
And sometimes I just give up.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I can't say sorry. Can you repeat that? Because
Yeah.
people mumble like fuck.
Oh yeah.
And eventually, you ask that many,
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
ask
what?
that many times
And
for
it's
someone
like,
to
I can't
repeat
do
something,
this.
don't you? And eventually,
Yeah.
you just go, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people
Nice one.
think like.
Yeah.
I think
I
the
think I
last,
can't, but
I
anyway.
think the last hearing test that I went for, it was like, I think it was like 37 or 40% loss
Oh, in that one.
in that ear. So
you'll be
that,
fully deaf.
so that ear is compensating for it all. So you know, if I'm in, when it was at its worst, I'd be in the shop. I'd be behind the counter. You'd have like the music on, then you'd have people sitting down chilling out. Then you'd be serving someone,
Yeah.
and then someone would watch a skate video on the
That's
TV.
just like too much.
And all the sound would go here, and eventually it was like I couldn't hear a thing. There was so
Yeah.
much going in, I couldn't hear a single
I
thing.
think there's also, don't quote me on this, but I think there's links with people who have ADHD and being able
Is
to
that you?
Pretty much, yeah.
having ADHD and being able to compute's not the word.
It's been like
process.
it's been overstimulated
Because there's a
all
lot
the
of
time.
noise. ADHD people find it really hard.
It's like when you get a dog
to
excited.
digest.
To
Yeah.
separate
Like,
the noises. Yeah. It just, yeah.
Auditory processing disorder.
Yeah.
Because I'm
So I
excited
think-
to talk about it.
I think there's
this.
links
Yeah.
there that
People
Auditory
with
ADHD.
people with auditory processing disorder have
Yeah.
difficult hearing. In some cases, ABD
Interesting.
could. People with ADHD.
yeah. So I think I've got a bit of that, and I think you certainly have
According
it.
to
Anyway, look,
Healthline.
let's move on from hearing aids and dodgy ears.
Well, it's good to
Um,
get, you know.
Yeah,
It's
but
good
I
to
mean
get it
that's
out.
I mean it sounds weird.
Go and get
but-
your ears tested, people.
Yeah, get your ears tested.
because I had when I had these in the other week, I had the hearing test, and they compare it to the one 3 years ago, and she's like,
Better? Worse?
She's
Worse?
Worse.
I guess it just gets worse.
yeah,
doesn't
and
it?
there's no reason that I've got bad
Yeah.
hearing. There's nothing in
What
my
would
family.
make it worse? What would
Age is pretty decrepit.
age?
He's like 46 or something now, aren't you?
It's a
45.
good age.
45.
45.
Let's talk about Ben.
Yes.
So you were talking about earlier on. I don't know if we were recording, but like around your time at House of Vans and that, like that's when Ben. Were you living near Ben? Where were you living at that time? When House of Vans was up?
Walthamstow.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, living in Walthamstow.
Near Ben.
No, Ben was in. He was kind of all over the place. He was always in like East, like Hackney.
Big up Walthamstow crew.
Absolutely.
Morph,
Yeah,
Jack,
he was
all
always.
those guys.
Oh, Jack and Morph, the best. Josephville. Yeah, Ben was. And with Ben, he's always kind of all over the place.
He was traveling a lot as well, wasn't he?
He was traveling a lot, and then like his girlfriend situation would change. And he would just sort of I think he was definitely in the East. He's always in the East, and he was always in London. Yeah, he'd be all over the place. And then he tried to like move to Cornwall.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he tried to move to Cornwall. That's one of the last messages I got from him. So yeah, I think he was, well, as we know now, because of what happened, like he was kind of like trying to figure stuff out and didn't really know what he was doing, trying to find like, answers. He moved to Cornwall for a week. Classic Ben. So he basically packed up everything he had, rented a van, drove to Cornwall, was there for a week. He'd messaged me, he was in a pub and he got like recognized in a pub. And then he was just annoyed that like people had come to his table. He was just trying to have a pint. And then someone came to his table and like, oh my God, you're Ben Raemers. And he's like all annoyed. He's like, oh, like just, just trying to, I don't know what, obviously he was trying to get away or like find peace, figure himself out. But yeah, he was just all over the place. Cornwall for a week, moved everything, had the van, went there. It's like, this is shit, came back. So yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. But yeah, I was in House of Vans. He would come a lot with Seth Curtis in the week. They would just turn up in the week and like skate. Seth. Yeah, Seth's fucking great. So yeah, they would come and just skate, and yeah, we'd get like afternoon pints. We'd get pints of Guinness at the cheap little old bloke pub around the corner. Yeah, he was about a lot. And then yeah, especially just before he passed, the last few weeks we spent a lot of time with it, just randomly like.
Because you were going to film Split Part, right?
We'd always talked about it.
You're working with Martinelli on it.
Yeah, it was kind of like an ongoing. Almost like a joke. Like after we did Albion, that video, which was like one of the best videos, Kev Parrott, Morph, and Rye.
Gray.
Yeah, that was great. And I'd always say to him, like, we should do another one, like, because for me, because I was working, my fun was like going skating, but for him, skating was his job, and he would like want to do like non-skate stuff, and I'd be like, no, let's like go skate. And a lot of the time, he'd like, oh, let's go play tennis, or let's go do this, or let's go to the park, or like let's go to. We'd go to like, I'd go to there's that like random farmyard zoo in like Hackney somewhere, and I'd meet him and he's like, let's just go check the zoo out. And I'd like go and like check the zoo out with him. But yeah, for him, a quote I heard him say was like, every day for him is like a Saturday. So like, a lot of drinking and like not knowing what to do, especially if he had like no trips or like deadlines, and he was just like.
I think that's what pro skaters kind of struggle with, that lack of
it's bad
of what's the word,
structure
routine
routine and structure and obviously like you saying, like all your mates are having to work or
probably when I was probably getting paid the most and being like professional, like I had the least amount to do because you can't do anything. There's no one like most filmers have regular jobs, like most people aren't about, and like in the week you're just like, what do I do? Like, where do you go? Unless you're on a trip, you've got nothing.
Or you live in California.
Yeah.
And you can.
Yeah.
There's filmers there, I guess.
Yeah, but even a lot of the time, like even being in like Costa Mesa a lot, you just end up doing nothing. Like every day's sunny, the spots are everywhere. Like there's no deadlines. You're just like, what do we do? Like, oh, let's go to the beach. Let's do this. Like you end up doing like the most random shit with people, not skating. But like when you're a kid and you look at them like, oh my God, those guys are like skating every day. They're at these spots doing all this stuff. It's like the reality is like it's not like that. Maybe it's different now.
That structure, because I'd just burn through money. If I didn't, just filling it with stuff to do.
Yeah. Well, we'd like days in Costa Mesa. Like I'd be there, it'd be like me and Ben, our friend Kyle Green. We'd like, what do we do today? And Kyle would like had a part-time job, and we'd be like, oh, let's just go ride bikes. And we'd just like literally just ride bikes, get some wine. That's when we all tattooed each other the smile tattoo that we all have. There's like nothing to do, and we're like, can't really, there's no reason to go skate every single day, all day long. So you just like just fucking find fun to do. Just go to the beach. Yeah, it's not like you imagine. I'm sure for some people, like a Jeff Rowley, of like every day going to spots. But yeah, most people it's just, nothing to do a lot of the time. And then for Ben, I think it was like that Groundhog Day. Yeah, a lot of the time.
So you were skating with him a bit towards the end, and
towards the end. I don't know why really. I'd moved to Walthamstow, and we'd bought this house. It was like a doer-upper. Yeah. So we spent a lot of time doing it up, and then I had this barbecue. It was like, oh, the house is ready. So he'd come to this barbecue, which I was surprised, because he was the kind of guy that would kind of like plan like double things all the time. Like he'd tell everyone like, oh, I'll come meet you here, or I'll come do that. Or you'd meet him sometimes and you'd be like with him for 30 minutes. And he's like, oh, we'll go meet so-and-so here. I've got to go here. So he came to my barbecue and he was there the whole day, and it was really nice like to see him. And I was like, oh, we're going to go skate tomorrow at Tottenham, the DIY spot.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
gnarly
yeah.
DIY.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Like saying to him, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll come skate. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like not thinking I'd see him. And he's like, oh, I do need to go to Slam. I need to get a board. I need to get my shoes. Like it's always like something. He's like lost the board. He's lost his shoes. Sorry, the dog's kissing my feet.
Kiss my feet.
So the next day we went to Tottenham. So it was me, John Redwin, Jake Martinelli, and Rafski
photographer.
So we went there and we'd gone to like the shop and we got like a box of beers and we had ice and we got like disposable barbecues, and we're like thinking Ben, not going to see him. And then he came and he turned up and he had like little shorts on, he had that pink Slam shirt on, and he just turned up and we're like, oh shit. And then we like skated the whole day. We skated, went from Tottenham, we skated all the way to Hackney, down by the river, hung out with him all day, had 2 barbecues in one day, like great day. It's like, oh, this is kind of rare to see Ben in 2 days in a row. And then the next, I think even in that week, like again, I was like, oh, I've got to work at 4 o'clock. Like, do you want to skate in the day? And he came out skating again. So we skated again. We went to the Tate. There's footage of him. I don't know if you've seen it, but like, at the Tate, there's that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
he like, cause
50's up it, doesn't he?
yeah, 50's up it. So like Ben with him, I think towards the end and with like stuff like trips and that, he was kind of purposefully not doing certain trips because he didn't want to do them. Whether it was like a trip to China or somewhere, he didn't really want to do it. So he'd be like, oh, my knee's bad. Like always the knee. But like, I don't think it was that bad. It was just he didn't want to go to China for 2 weeks. So he skated that and he did that like 50-50 up it and like absolutely fine. And then for a few weeks up until then, we skated a bunch of times. And last time I saw him was we'd skated again through the city, gone to that Tate spot again. I shot a photo on that bridge thing. And then he came to the House of Vans and I went in to work. And then he texted me. He was just like, oh, like you seem busy. I'm going to go home. I was like, all right, see you tomorrow. Then we had an event on. And then that was it. That was like the Saturday. And I think it was the Tuesday or Wednesday we found out about it. But I found out it was my leaving due for House of Vans. So I was leaving. So we were all at the pub. And I think Smithy and Ginger Harry Wilson, I'd heard from them in the day that I go, oh, have you heard from Ben? Because it was Tuesday or Wednesday. No one's heard from Ben for a few days. So I was like, oh no, like I haven't checking messages, messaging him, like checking, like nothing. And then I was literally like at the bar, like getting drinks, and everyone's at the table. And I was like, I got the message from Smithy. So Smithy was like, oh, they're at his house, they found him. So that's how we found out. Yeah, and it's just like
Smithy was at the house. Did they
I think Smithy got a text. I don't know who went there. I don't know if it was like
check on
I don't know if it was Nick. I think the police were there. I don't know if Nick was there or I don't really know. But like I literally was like read it and I was like fuck, and I was like really, and he was like yep, silly, and I think he was like silly sod, and I was like fuck, and then I like went back to the table, like put the drinks down, was just like there for a minute, and I was like oh, I didn't know like what didn't know what to do. I was like Rob.
It's not something you just want to stand up and say, is it?
Yeah, so I didn't know what to do. So I was like I got Rob. So I told Rob Smith, and then I think a few people came over, and then we just I don't know what happened. I think we just left. I think we went back to House of Vans, and then we ended up meeting a bunch of people. But it was obviously a shock.
100%.
Yeah, and just no one. You don't really. Your brain goes like in a million places, and you're just like almost like looking for reasons or like why, and no one knew where he was going. You kind of like I don't know. I kind of knew, obviously, like trying to move to Cornwall, trying to do this, trying to do that. But like, you'd have especially Ben, you wouldn't really think Ben being like the sweetest person ever would have that kind of thoughts in him. Yeah. Or at least would like, you'd hope would tell you but like there's all that, and there's always that like the little signs that like you don't notice at the time. Like at my barbecue, he gave my little nephew like his hat. So like he was like giving stuff away, always giving stuff away. Yeah, it's like all these little things, like and it's like a Ralph Lauren hat, like a nice cap, and he's like, my nephew's like, oh, that's cool, and he's like, oh, have it. So like it was like these little tiny things, so like kind of getting ready for it. Like obviously it was pre-planned, but you have no idea. Yeah, but he was out a lot. Like those 3 weeks, we're like, oh, let's skate, like let's do a part, let's like get on it again. But like most of the time, it's like, let's go play tennis. Like he wants to do other shit, and I'm like, no, we should, like, it's my day off. Let's go skate.
That would have been sick to put in the part though, like trick, tennis, trick, golf.
Yeah, he just kept talking about tennis. Like it's always something else. I just want to do this, I want to do that.
I guess he was just trying to find something fun, wasn't he?
Yeah,
skating.
I think skating became
just I don't know, not fun. And...
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, from like 14, he was obviously McTwisting at 14, and 20 odd years. No, 20 years. What? What was he 28? So he just played a whole lifetime of skating, and no real structure, no real like, and because of the way he was, like, no one's putting pressure on him. Just like, you know, just let him do his thing, and he was doing it. Yeah, there was no worries. But you know, obviously he had his worries. Yeah, that was the problem. But you know, to like a person there, like there was no real like immediate signs. But then there's all the shit he'd done, and like he'd done some, when drinking, like punching out photo frames, like cutting. I got these pictures. It was when Phelps was in town. They did like the Thrasher thing, I think, at the House of Vans. We all went to Tottenham. Now I remember Ben has that like cast on. Yeah. He like punched a picture frame out and like all drunk and saying all this shit. But you kind of just, I don't know. You look now, because he's done it, you look back and you're like, this was a sign, that was a sign. But at the time,
that's kind of what Munson was saying, that you know there were signs there. Yeah. It was just putting those into focus. And, you know.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Absolutely.
So, but I mean, at least the Raemers Foundation and all the good stuff
that's
come of that, which is good.
It's probably obviously it's saved probably a lot of lives.
I think
like,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. But
no, it's definitely a conversation. You know, I know we've spoken about this before, but it was definitely a conversation that wasn't being had with a lot of.
Oh no! It opened
up.
When that happened, like every guy that I knew was like messaging everyone, like, "You all right?"
Yeah, everyone checks it.
So it definitely changed the male stigma behind it.
Yeah, which it needed to happen. I mean, there's definitely there still is. There's a lot of macho energy in skating that doesn't.
Men just put up with it.
Yeah,
like, move on.
Which is so weird. You just put up with it. So no, it's all right. It's fine. I'll deal with it.
Have something to eat and go sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, well.
Yeah.
But no, like I've never had like a bad memory with Ben.
No,
like it's always like he was.
I didn't spend that much time with him, but what I did was
from the.
I met him twice randomly in London, and he always just said hello. If you holding a board, like, oh, you're right, mate.
It'd always be hello. Yeah, he's always like.
I seen him when I was on a date once, and when I walked off, the guy was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm fucking Ben Raemers."
I think he couldn't really handle that he was seen like that. I think he struggled with it, and he would come to like. You know, obviously when I was working at House of Vans,
I just played it so cool, and I was like, "Oh, nice to see you."
Yeah.
And so like
he didn't like that stuff.
He probably had it all the time, like, "You're Ben." Yeah. So I just tried to be a little bit like, "You're right, mate."
What you'd get is like you'd go skating with him, and people would know who he was, and then like if he wasn't like performing at the top, you know, like doing some nutty shit, they're like, "Oh, aren't you Ben Raemers? Aren't you supposed to be like pro?"
Better than them.
And doing McTwists, and he's just like, "I'm hungover. I just want to like." Do some no
skate
slides.
a mini ramp.
So it's like that every single day. Everywhere he goes, people recognize. He's had like 3 covers of Thrasher, like so everyone kind of knew him, and he just wanted to chill. And he used a lot of the time he couldn't chill, and he was getting like he obviously he was a very sensitive person, but he'd get shit. Like obviously people like everyone talks shit and gives shit, and like particular things and tricks he'd tried, and like there was like I don't even want to fucking go into it, but like he'd get a lot of shit. And he's a sensitive bastard, and he would take that in, and I feel like he'd always take it to heart, and even though it was like in jest, but still, he would take it.
Yeah, I guess you know the lesson really is that like people don't realize how other people will take things.
Exactly, yeah.
And even if you do think it's in jest, for fun, you know, they mull that stuff over. Yeah, which is what you would do. Especially if you got a lot of time as well. Yeah, where you can just sit there and like think about.
If you've not got something taken off your mind in the week, that just stays on.
Yes,
top.
I think it's and then obviously you know look back at his family history and blah blah blah. Like, I bought a car off him once. I had to go to Ipswich. I don't know what I don't know. I can't remember how, but basically, he's like, "I have this car for sale. Do you want to buy it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like it's cheap. Like you need the money." Like, so I went to Ipswich to get the car, and then the car was fucked, the tires were flat, it didn't run. And then he was like, oh, the paperwork's at my mum's house. Go to his mum's house. He goes in there and he's there for like half an hour. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, she's asleep and she was trying to like grill some chicken and there was a fire, like all this shit. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. But that was just like his life of like just calamities of just like mad shit. But yeah.
Do we want to talk about Kyle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want?
Yeah, we can go Kyle.
When did you first met Kyle? Kyle Green. We're talking about Kyle Green.
Kyle Green, I met at the House of Doom when I first.
For people who don't know
there.
Kyle Green.
So Kyle Green is
example me.
Yeah. So basically, he was my friend he was the guy living in Santa Cruz that knew the Consolidated guys.
Yeah.
So he ended up staying at the House of Doom.
That's where I met him.
To just appeared with his brother, just being like, he was probably like 18.
Yeah.
He would have been young. Yeah, 18. Brother was like 20. Just appeared. And they're like, oh, we like come to stay. So so through Consolidated, Letitia knowing Nick was like, yeah, just stay.
Nick had really good connections with people from the distribution side.
Yeah.
So he always had good
especially.
people rolling through.
Yeah. So if anyone was like, because they were just like, oh, I think Kyle and his brother would basically, oh, we're going to go to London. Do we know anyone? And then Letitia, because they knew Todd. So yeah, the connection was they knew Todd working there. Yeah. So yeah, they stayed at our house for like 2 months. So yeah, I met Kyle then and his brother. Stayed in touch with them. Then I won the lottery, 5 numbers, £1,000. Stayed with those guys. So then it was kind of like a tit for tat. I'd go over there, and then Kyle would come stay with us. Mm-hmm. And then he was here for almost 6 months at one point, staying at the house. No visa, obviously. Doing like, not really working, but like, I think he did a few board graphics. He did that one, I'll get it out, the one I've got over there. So he was doing board graphics, but like, he wasn't getting paid, but he was just doing some stuff and kind of helping out. And we went on a weekender to Belgium. And then on the way back, come to Calais. Mm-hmm. I think he'd been there for 5 months. And then we're trying to get back on the boat. And then, which I didn't even think was like a problem back then. So so we're just like getting on the boat, checking the passports. And she's like, oh, you're from America. Like, what are you up to? And then he's like, oh, I've just been in England. Like, we do a little weekend trip. She's like, oh, how long you been there? And he's like, oh, what do you do for work? Blah, blah. And then he eventually got taken to the room, interrogated for 2 hours. And then they were just like, nope, like, you're not coming in. That's that. And then, so at the time he'd been living there, had a girlfriend, had all his stuff. Like he was kind of like a life in London, and then just got denied at Calais. So I was with Monk and Nicholson, the Harlow boys. Mm-hmm. So I stayed with Kyle in Calais, and we just like found a place to sleep, like a bed and breakfast. And like, this was like, I don't know, it was like, I'm sure it's still crazy, but people like running around trying to climb the fences. It was like a lot of like immigrants basically trying to get in. It was really gnarly in Calais.
Yeah,
never really hung out in Calais before, but it's pretty gnarly.
I went there a couple of years back, and it is insane.
Yeah, it's like, just all that. They're just like chasing them in the cars and like obviously not shooting them, but like it's just like people trying to basically get into England through Calais. So we were there for a night, and then our genius plan was to get back to Belgium, get him on a train. For some reason, we're like, oh, you just get a train, it'll be easy. Like they don't give a shit on a train. Like, but yeah, so we got back to Belgium. All the money we had between us, and we got him the ticket. He went to get on the train, and then like 10 minutes later, just came back, and they'd like stamped his passport, and they just like crossed it out, and then he could never come. Well, no, he could have come back, but basically, he was like denied then, and then never came back. Didn't see his girlfriend again. All his shit I had to take back like next time I went there. But yeah, he sadly, he passed away almost 3 years ago now. So yeah, he was So me, him, and Ben spent a lot of time in Costa Mesa, and that's where the Smile stuff came from. So obviously the text, the Smile Foundation, and so that's where all that comes from. So that text, that's Ben's tattoo that I did on Ben. So I tattooed him, tattooed Ben, tattooed Kyle, and then I think Kyle was supposed to tattoo this, but he couldn't tattoo for shit, so I did most of that. That's why it's like a terrible font, because I can barely write my name. So so that's where that came from. So he was like the original. There's the three of us. The
original Smile crew.
Yeah, the Smile crew. But two of the Smile crew has passed now.
He was a
but
red
we have
dude.
A couple extra Smile. Yeah, Sam Maguire got one. And Todd's got one.
The Ben Raemers Foundation, it's called.
Oh yeah. So that's where that came from. But Kyle, I stayed in touch with Kyle. But he was that kind of was a real turning point. Obviously not coming back. But Kyle was like, you met Kyle. He's like a lovely, but a bit of a sad chap sometimes. But yeah, so we've lost two of the Smile crew.
2 heroes.
Yeah.
Where are you at with skateboarding now? Like, you're obviously a dad now.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
just doing.
what's going on?
I'm just like dad skateboarding basically, which is like I go out a bunch with Huxley, my little boy. But yeah, it's just like, you know how it is. It's hard when you have a tiny person in a, especially in a skate park. Like he can push and he can stand, but yeah, it's like I have to kind of be there.
Yeah, you still have to parent.
Yeah, you basically have to
relax.
parent. Yeah, like it'll get to that point where I'm just like, see you later. It'll be alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment, no. But like I'll go out. Like I'll still try and go out and do stuff. But it's been a while.
I've been spending weekends with Twiggy.
Yeah.
Because he's filming a part.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it on the drive back, and he says like you'll come out, got the kids, and then it's like, then you've got a business call.
Yeah.
Then you can skate for a bit.
Yeah.
Then you got to look after the kid. Then you got a business call. And
Yeah.
you're like, right, see you later.
Yeah,
And Twiggy's like, bruv, you've skated for 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's
You
dad
get-
life, isn't
That's
it?
basically it. Yeah, you just kind of work it around that. There's like nothing else you can do.
I love having Twiggy around on weekends.
Twiggy's the best.
He's a real good, like, speaks honestly and open. And he was really committing to filming this part.
Yeah.
Like, it took him 6 hours to get from London on Friday because of traffic.
he's like everywhere. Like that, and he's in Margate this weekend. I think he's coming down with Amanda.
Yeah, he is.
Radman. But yeah, he's like, that's kind of what you need to be. I feel like a lot of skateboarders are lazy now. Like, there's a lot of people who are just like,
hell.
oh, I can just film Instagram clips.
get Toby on
Get me
it.
started. But
I'll get started.
No, that's not, no. Because we'll be here forever.
But it's a bit like disappointing, really, because like people are better than ever, but like lazier than ever.
I think the beauty of working towards something's gone.
Yeah.
Like full-length videos, and then
maybe it's
Miles put it on his story. When you sit down to watch the new full-length video and it's 15 minutes,
Yeah.
it's like instant gratification. But Twiggy's one of those classic, like, wants to film.
But that'll like
for a part.
stand the test of time.
Exactly,
Like these
yeah.
like Instagram clips, like no one's gonna give a shit about. No one's gonna look back like, I remember when like matey did that switch, whatever. Blah, you're like, no.
Well, firstly, you can't find it
Yeah.
because people are posting so
gone.
much shit.
Yeah.
the times have changed, and I think
I
we're
know,
we're
like,
at a
we're
point
old
where the
now.
way that we did things.
Yeah, the older
I
generation.
think
Yeah.
it's
Back in my day.
It's that,
Yeah.
and I just.
But
think
it'll come
now,
back around. Like everything's coming back. Like,
I think it's going to have to
how the
because
fuck people are skating in D3? Sorry if you sell obviously loads of them, but like it's stinking and it is stinking. But it's cool now. But in 5 years'
Just
time,
big
you're like,
shoes.
what the hell happened? Like, why did we wear big shoes for a couple of summers?
There'll be another
because
skateboarder.
this happened as
Yeah.
well. It goes around in circles.
Yeah.
But I just think that, like you were saying, skaters, sponsored skaters,
Yeah.
fucking lazy to the
Yeah.
point where they won't even ride their sponsors' gear.
But why? Because they don't.
Well,
have
I
to.
don't know.
Oh.
I guess I'm just never gonna know.
Oh.
So it's
It's
a real
weird.
funny time for skating, and I think people need to fucking sort of shit out.
I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see a pro skater shoe come out that is a slim shoe, like when the Dylan first came out,
Yeah.
and everyone's going to hate it. And then it's going to be,
People are still doing it. Leo's still doing it.
yeah, his shoes on America are thin as well.
We haven't really touched base on much of the dice stuff, but we're doing a video with Leo at the moment.
He's fucking
Leo was in our
sick.
last issue, 103, and in, like a little thing with Leo, and then he's doing a full video of us. But yeah, we're like fucking Heath fans. Heath is the best. We'd like that skateboarding to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I respect the way it is now, and like people are so fucking good, and like every single day they're like
churning out.
churn. But it's like a lot of it just gets lost in the.
But the way that I look
internet.
at it is like growing up, the guy that was 10, 15 years older than me, everything I was doing to him was wrong.
Yeah.
And now I'm in that position
Yeah.
where everything you're doing
Just old.
is wrong.
Yeah.
It's
I wouldn't
because,
say it's wrong, but
no,
it's
it's just you're stuck to that generation of how you did it.
I don't get me wrong. I would still like. I would like to see, like a Leo Romero clip every single day or a Jeff Rowley clip, but like they're not obviously doing it like that. But yeah, it's just oversaturated. I guess like people have like, especially now, like sponsors are telling people like you have to post almost every day. Like, I see like Chima, like I'm friends with Chima. I see the shit that he posts just because he kind of has to like post a little something just to kind of keep it going. Like it kind of kills all like the mysteriousness of like a Heath or Jamie Thomas. Like,
could you imagine like Heath Kirchhart?
mate,
No.
we're trying to
told.
get Heath. We're trying to do something with Heath. We're really like through like Matt Price and like would love to do because he's basically the best.
The sponsors are dependent on the skater now.
Yeah.
Not the skater dependent on the sponsor.
Yeah.
Just before we sign out, because we've been at this for quite a while now.
That's right.
It must be quite nice with your role at Dice still being able to talk to skateboarders and having that crossover.
Yeah.
Because you've worked with a lot of people with this, haven't you?
It's kind of worked out perfectly. Like I couldn't, like I've really lucked out with this job because we're, obviously it's a motorcycle magazine, kind of the heart of it, but it all the other stuff it does.
The culture, lifestyle. Yeah,
that's the thing. And like, there's a lot of people like myself that, from skateboarding, like you get bikes and you kind of like, it's all kind of ties in, but we're like working with like Matt Price now and Sam Maguire and John Humphreys from the Skateboard Mag. We saw him in Portland a couple of weeks ago. Like obviously Max, I don't know if I said Max, but like a lot of people used to skate, like either skate or BMX. Like it was kind of, it's always been there, but they're just a bit older and they're into bikes now. And it's just fun to kind of include it. Like it all ties in. Like, we're just people that like skating, we like bikes, we like all this and that. It's kind of like, I don't know,
lifestyle stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not like it's heavily lifestyle stuff. Like even like Jason Momoa, like has a ramp in his house, his kid skates, like, and like people like Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys, like who's in the mag, like has a ramp at his house, like people skate, like it all kind of ties in. And it's like with Thrasher, like I haven't seen an issue of Thrasher in a very long time, and it's like we kind of want to just do cool shit and include cool people and just to have a laugh, basically.
I bet he absolutely, because I saw the video, Jason Momoa, I bet you loved it because it was like, for that first 2 minutes, you're like, oh shit, it's Jason Momoa. But then you just jump on a bike. Same with skating.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, you're mates with him.
Yeah, that connection, that instant connection.
When my shift patterns used to be like, I'd have Sunday and Monday off. Because Monday everyone's at work, when I lived in Sheffield, I got into motorbikes as well. So I'd just like fix the bike, learn how to fix something, and then just ride it once I'd fixed it. And then you get halfway there and it'd break down. So you're like, fuck, get a spare one out the bag and fix it. So
it's like half the fun. Like half like riding, especially like riding old bikes. Like half the fun is
stressing it and then
just getting there. It's like skating. Like you spend 2 hours doing a stupid trick, and you like the end. You're like, but like it's same with like this old shit. Just like making it is like half
making it work,
and it's kind of stupid, but skateboarding's stupid how you just like
make it work,
spending hours trying a single trick, like you're sweating, like as a filmer you're just like on you as well, like filming someone trying to do a manual for 3 hours for a 5-second clip
and
like,
filming them as well.
So dumb.
Depending who it is that you're filming, you can see like their window of where they're going to land it, so you see them like get really close and then it's starting to go away, so you're kind of getting a bit like deflated filming, and then it comes again, and then that was like on the weekend battling the wind and being by a reservoir, and it was just like being near water at a watery spot, just the wind is amplified.
What must be shit now is like knowing you spend all that time doing it and it just goes on Instagram.
See, I don't post anything on
for a day. It must suck. Like people,
I just do the full. Like I've got the camera.
There's always someone in the bushes. And just like straight.
No, because I think the people that I go out with, they're all pretty aware that what we're filming is for a video. Like Ronnie Kello's been coming out and just nailing tricks.
He's so good,
and he's been getting
like a fine wine.
He's been getting some good shit. But at the moment, if we're out in a crew, it's kind of like, if I'm stood there with a camera, there's no one there with the, because I was quite militant with it a couple of years ago. Like I think I was filming someone in Sheffield, and one of the young kids came out like fresh onto the being involved in a group and got it on the phone, and I was like, "Fuck, are you doing?" Like I'll just go home. But now I'm just a little bit like, I'll still say to someone like, can you maybe not, like Zorlak filmed a clip on his phone the other week that I filmed a Twiggy. But I said to Twiggy, I was like, is he going to post it? And he was like, no, bro, Zorlak knows, like, he's not going to be able to post it until you put. And I was like, Zorlak has been around for much longer than me, and he does understand it.
Yeah, he knows what's up. I got told off by Ewan Bowman once because I was
he likes his bikes as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Does he? Not Ewan Bowman. Sorry, no, Ewan
Bowman.
Bowman.
I was thinking of Love and Skate.
Ewan Bowman, Love and Skate. I was with him yesterday. He's like a bike genius now.
Yeah.
Like obviously he's fucking good at skateboarding, and that's shaking. He's like really, really, really good at.
Ewan Bowman is the OG filmer.
Ewan Bowman, that's the guy that told me off.
From
Scottish and works with Flip.
Orkney Isle.
Is he?
I thought he was Scottish.
Yeah,
he's the Flip guy,
and he was working for Thrasher.
Yeah, I was with Todd, and we were kind of like piggybacked on like a flip trip. So David Gonzalez did this like gnarly nollie flip into this bank, and I had like a flip cam. Do you remember those old flip cams? Yeah. And I was just there like flip camming it, and then he just like came up to me and he was like, "I need to see you delete that." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "He's like, yeah." He's like, "I know, I trust you, but I need to see you delete that right now." And I'm like, "Oh my god, like delete." Sorry.
Well, it's livelihood for
yeah.
Imagine.
And they never used it. I don't think they ever used it anyway, because it was David and he does that shit every day. But
yeah, he probably did something gnarlier the next day.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
That's. Do you have any more stories from piggybacking on a flip trip?
The flip trips. There was nothing too juicy. That was like it was when like it was the younger guys, so David and Luan, and who was the guy with no tooth? And the tooth, he had like no.
Fuck, the guy who did the backside
really
nose
gnarly.
blunts. Can't remember.
Yeah.
I know the guy. I know you made it. Skated,
video?
Skated trannies.
All I remember is like Luan and David talking about pocket pussies all the time. They were just obsessed with pocket pussies and just like a mixture of having them like in their hotel rooms. And that was their shit. But they were like 18, 19 kids. Yeah, just discovered pocket pussies. That was a weird time for Flip. That'd have been like the 2010s, the kind of high five days. And because we were in Costa Mesa, we'd just be like, Jeff would be about and Appleyard and got some funny videos of Appleyard. He'd just hang out. Because again, like he'd be the same, like if there's nothing going on, what are you supposed to do? And he'd just come round and just like smoke weed and like ollie. He'd ollie like, you know, those creature boards that were little coffins. He'd ollie like full size bins in a creature board and like switch flip like fucking, you know, Appleyard style. Yeah, just you see a lot of just random shit like that.
Pro skaters being pro skaters.
Yeah, obviously the next level of skills.
Do you think we can get Horsey on like a retainer so he can be our booking agent? So I feel like you've got the more connections.
I can do that. Yeah, I can definitely.
How about we just have Horsey as our
knew.
Booking agent without a retainer?
I can get you sponsors, advertisers.
Yeah, we need to sort that out. We'll have a conversation about that in a bit. Should we wrap it up? Because
I feel like
is there anything
Let's
else?
talk, we get to talk about the bike show.
All right, talk about bike show.
Because that's my. Well, I'll talk about it.
All right.
So I do this bike show in Margate.
As proper phrase.
No, so
Action.
Yeah. So I do this bike show in Margate. It's called the 101. So it's basically a good old get together. Loads of old motorcycles, new motorcycles. We have a ramp there. We do a party at Cates' house.
Twiggy builds the ramp.
Twiggy built. Yeah, Twiggy's. Yeah, I need Twiggy to do all this stuff. Twiggy is like the most dependable human being. But yeah, he builds the ramp.
I trust him so much.
Yeah. So yeah, you know it's gonna get done. But yeah, we do. Oh, there we go.
Why is that so long on the
That
front?
won the best in show last year. We had a video of that. That's the one that Ewan built, the pink one. But the one at the top, that we put on Instagram, basically just like the guy kickstarting it, and it had 9 million views. It went through like Russia, and like Russian people just loved it. The comments were like insane. But yeah, that's the kind of bikes we like. They're a bit silly.
I need to buy a new motorbike. I got in a crash on mine.
Oh, did you?
Someone else's fault. Q jumped in the rain and I just slipped out and it all bent the bars and battered it a little bit.
But yeah, we do it at, in Margate at Dreamland. We have the ramp. But yeah, it kind of like, it's sort of like from the House of Vans kind of style of the way we did things. It's like that. I'm trying to like... Yeah, just like...
A bit more grassroots.
Just grassroots.
And the way skateboarders do it.
Yeah,
when's the next
we don't
one?
make any money. We just do it for a laugh. The 20th of July.
20th of July. When is this episode going out?
I think it'll be after the 20th of July.
It'll be...
Oh, so we just had this show in Margate called The 101 the other week. It's a great show.
This probably won't be out till like mid-August.
Damn it.
So you just had a show in Margate recently, the 101.
The 101. Yeah, it's a great laugh. We had Ronnie Sandoval. He went off the
Is that how you say his last name properly? Sandoval?
I think it's Sandoval.
Not Sandoval.
Sandoval. I don't know.
The Sandoval's good.
Isn't Sandoval Tommy Sandoval? Is that... I don't even know.
Sandoval.
I've always said Sandoval.
Yeah, this episode will go out like 8th of August.
Oh shit, we're going to miss it. At least I could give you some footage from it.
Yeah.
So Ronnie will be there. Ronnie's going to jump off the roof into the ramp. And we're going to have a party at Cates' house. You should come.
It's a definite
That would be a good one to come to.
We need to start getting on this remotely, don't we?
Now
you're fucking off to America.
We can do it on Friday.
Because everyone that we have on, if there's events, they say just do something remotely.
Yeah.
But
it's how
you
do
should
that.
definitely have that in your back pocket.
Even if we just did like go to the events and do content, we don't necessarily.
What
have
about
to
Brain
pop up and
Drain
do
X Dice Magazine?
Yeah.
On the road with Brain Drain.
Yeah.
And get me and Toby on motorbikes.
That's a good place to start, Axe. There's gonna be a lot of people there. Like, obviously, Vans is a sponsor, so they're gonna bring like Jordan and people. So you could do like, one with Ronnie would be good. Can't you do like a minimal setup on the road?
Well, we have this conversation.
I've got space for you guys if you wanted quiet space.
Yeah.
Quiet space is the main thing. We
could just do it in like one of the Airbnbs.
The problem is, when is it?
20th of July.
You're not here.
Yeah, I'm in America from Friday till pretty much the 1st of August.
Can't you dial in? Can't we do like a dialed in one?
No, we need the vibe to be like this. It has to be more. We're in a.
It needs to be in a set. Really.
It's so relaxed when it's like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it starts getting out of my comfort zone.
You do need to eventually be able to go mobile.
Yeah.
Because events and stuff, and because it's hard to get to Derby. If like people are coming for a week, for like a skate trip, or
smack bang in the middle of the country. It's 2 hours to London. It's 2 hours to Manchester.
Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah, if I'd have known. Next time, we always bring a skateboarder. We always bring like a Max.
Just try and work it in next time. You know, like we are literally smack bang in the middle of the country.
All we need is a white transit van that we can put a bolted down table in and paint it black and get a camera and.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And talking
it
that
be
way.
This, honest, well, with the equipment, but all this equipment will pack up pretty quick. Apart from that,
I could break this down and build it back up in.
Break it down.
Break it down.
The only problem is powering all that shit because there's a lot of computers, lights.
I've got space for you guys.
Yeah, as long as we've got extension cables and plugs.
But then we're missing the main star.
Well, hold on. Let's put it this way. This is my idea. I don't know how busy you'll be, but since you'll know the people there, you and Toby should do something and talk to someone about something. If they've got a skating history,
like a pop up, like a mini break.
But you can jump. I trust you to jump in for me.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, it's more if I'm free and stuff as well. There's a lot more.
Well, make yourself free.
Okay, well, we can talk about this offset.
Yeah.
When was it? 20th.
Yeah.
20th.
You've got annual leave on the 20th. Oh no, that's August. Sorry.
That's August. Hold on.
But we can do it here. Ronnie arrives on the Thursday, so we do stuff from the Thursday. But I can on the Friday. Friday would be good.
We'll look into it.
Or Saturday.
Let's get wrapping up. It's getting a bit loose now, isn't it?
All right, we're getting loose. Did we say enough about my work, Dice? I think we got.
Yeah, we got it in there, and the way it'll be edited, it'll be clumped together as well. So, do you want to wrap it up then?
Well, Horsey needs to wrap it up. He needs to look at that camera and say, "My name's Horsey. You've been watching the Brain Drain Show. Let's roll the credits."
I don't like doing that shit.
Everyone got to do it.
What? My name is Horsey.
You've been watching the Brain Drain Show.
Oh, God.
Roll the credits.
Hi, I'm Horsey. You've been watching the Brain Drain Show. Roll the credits.
There you go. Perfect. That's probably better than anyone else has ever done it. Right, good to see you, dude. Thanks for coming.
Let's go build a new motorbike.